No, no more! That's it! I don't care! I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about being better than Kakarot. I didn't care about being a Super Saiyan. I didn't care if I lived. I didn't care about anything. And then it happened.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? KCM is back, and I'm here as well. Satan as C with Shun. We're getting our game number 1 started here with Best versus Royal on Neo Medusa. Let's get it started. Best down here in the bottom left. This kind of crazy map. It's Royal over here in the top left. This map has been around for a very, very long time, but it was from another era, truly.
Yeah, Medusa is a very old but gold map, and it's nice to see it back. It's a bit peculiar as far as free-player maps go, with this back mineral expansion and this high ground area that you can kind of exploit the temples in the back that you can knock down and do some cheeses. So kind of allows for some unorthodox play, similar to maps like Heartbreak Ridge, kind of allow for a bit more of a tactical way of thinking going about this game. But you also might see these two players just play a very straight-up, strong macro game. They're still probably wanting to go into his Gateway Man style with the shuttles and High Templars in the future, and lots of speed zealots.
Yeah, we could see some crazy builds out of Royal as well. You can break down the temples at the back, just above the Protoss base here, and get up onto that high ground. Can be a really powerful position to fire down onto the gateways and whatever else is here in the main base of the Protoss. But yeah, I'm expecting a more aggressive game out of Best here. Not gonna allow Royal to move out easily. Crush his push outs before he can get any momentum. Otherwise, he's gonna get into some really nasty positions here on this map.
One build that used to be quite common on this map was a very fast 2-gate Dragoon range rush to kind of put a lot of pressure on the front, because it is a flat map after all. So if you do get in the front door of the Terran with those Dragoons, it can be a bit of a nightmare for them to deal with. But that's kind of faded away from the meta in recent years. So I don't think we'll necessarily see any kind of 2-gate pressure from Best, like a 10-12 or 10-15 gate here. But I certainly think he'll maybe will want to try and be a little bit more aggressive than usual to not let Royal get away with being too greedy here.
Alright, one thing to mention, guys. The all-kill prize has been reset. We did give that over to Light last week. If you missed that series, definitely go back and check that out. That was one of the craziest comebacks we've ever seen in KCM. Like, very, very strong play out of Light. And yeah, just a great series. Now only 200,000 won in the bank for these players. It would be unfortunate to see one of them pull off an all-kill. Super hard to do and only get 200,000 won, but it is what it is. It will continue to build up each week that there's no all-kill winner until eventually we've got one. But here in week number 7, there's not a whole lot of time left. It does carry over into the next season, though. Should mention that as well. Yeah, we're getting close to the end of the season. We still haven't seen a Protoss victory. What do you think the chances are here this week that we see a Protoss victory?
I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't, but I think that the Protoss players have kind of identified that we just need to play for the final spot right now. So we're going to be trying to look to see which of the Terran or Zerg end up having to face to get that spot. I think they will have to obviously go and fight them for that spot in the end. So might not be seeing a Protoss victory this week. Could still happen. We got the likes of Snow and Best here, 2 very strong players, but the Terran and Zerg lineups looking so fierce. Light Royal Rush and Soma Soki Jaden. I don't know. I'm feeling like this is definitely going to be either a Terran or Zerg week for sure.
It definitely looks like that from the lineup. Can't wait to see Jaedong play once again. We had him in a game last week, but hopefully get to see him a little bit more this week. I gotta feel that Protoss is feeling a bit demoralized here after losing so many weeks in a row. Now they haven't taken home any money. You don't get any prize money if you take that 3rd spot. I believe it's $700 for the first prize or first place, each week, and around 300 for the second week. And oh god, this vulture's gonna go right into best main.
Oh no, the Dragoon didn't see it, and it's gonna get right in here and do so much damage. At least 2 or 3 probes may go down to this vulture. This is really crucial for Best here not to lose too many probes. A few probes are being targeted, but only 2 going down thus far. A third starting to be targeted does go down to this vulture. 3 probes for 1 vulture. That's a pretty good win for Royal there. 2 is not so good for losing that vulture, but 3 is definitely pretty worth it. Although some Terran players would argue they'd rather have that vulture out on the map to cause the threat of a backstab and laying down mines later. But I would say getting the 3 probes this early on is actually a big win for Royal, and now he just needs to repair this bunker and make sure he doesn't take any unnecessary damage. The Dragoon is already low HP, poking out with this tank, gets 1-2 shots, maybe the third to finish it off low on HP, just 3 hit points on that Dragoon. Royal putting a lot of pressure on these Dragoons early, kind of weakening up the potential of those Dragoons coming in to try and snipe the tank in a few moments.
3 HP, man. What a close thing that was. Robotics facility, robotic support bay going down here. We are going to have Reavers in the main momentarily, and this setup here, the spawn positions for both these players really makes Reaver strong in this spot. You know, all the defensive forces are going to be up at the front here defending against these Dragoons, and the Reaver has plenty of locations to land and deal damage all around that top area, and then also inside the main, and then can easily switch from this high ground area in the main over to the natural and start to deal damage there as well. So I like this play out of Best. I like this position out of for Best. Not really loving it for Royal right now, and he's even gonna bring the Dragoons up into the main. Oh god, this is gonna be painful.
Yeah, meanwhile, Royal's getting a control tower like he wants to get a dropship, but he's gonna have to deal with these 4 Dragoons coming up here. SCV does spot it prematurely, so we'll be able to react to it, pull his tanks back to try and defend this and prevent him from taking too much economic damage, but maybe losing this supply depot at the very least for his efforts. It's a little bit annoying for Royal, going to be supply blocked from that for the time being.
He's going to be supply blocked here, and he's going to lose some SCVs maybe. Oh, nice job picking those, taking that damage onto the Dragoon there. Not bad at all. Good defense so far, but the Reaver is on the way. We're gonna have Zealots dropping out here, and he's supply blocked, so he can't actually produce Goliaths or anything like that in order to defend. He doesn't have any turrets. Here comes the first Zealot. Oh no, he doesn't have Zealot, just 1 Dragoon. He's gonna get that tank though. Tank goes down. He picks up the Dragoon once again. He's gonna go after this. The moment that siege is up, he can drop that and take another shot. Oh, this is gonna get a lot of SCV kills. If he targets that tank, he does not. Ooh, another big shot there. 3 tanks have gone down so far for just 2 Dragoons, and the Wraith fell as well, so this is going to get really bad for Royal very fast.
He's falling apart a little bit here in this early game defense. This is exactly what I was talking about. Best needs to do a little bit of pressure onto Royal and not just let him get away with just building a Wraith and then zoning out this shuttle late. He's getting right into the main base by setting up those 4 Dragoons early, creating some zoning on the high ground with those Dragoons to come in and support this goon, support the Reaver as it comes in with the additional goon later on, and done a great job of reducing the tank count, killing that Wraith, and kind of limiting the potency of Royal early on in this game, as well as killing a few SCVs in the process. So really great play from Best thus far, now taking that mineral only behind his base as his third as well, so going to be ramping up his own production curve against Royal going forward here.
What do you think about Best targeting tanks there rather than SCVs? It felt like he could have gotten some really big hits on the SCVs, but he was much more focused on the tank count.
I think he has to focus the tank count because he needs to limit the push timing of the Terran player here, and if he's losing the Reavers and Dragoons and not killing tanks, that just opens up Royal to do a big counter push, and if there's not any Reavers or Dragoons to hold that push, then Royal can do quite critical damage to Best in response, so I feel like he has to focus down the tanks in that situation.
We've got 2 Wraiths out now. That's going to shoot down a shuttle incredibly fast, and we don't have shuttle speed right now. He's going to fly in here. I thought he saw those 2 Wraiths pop out, but he's going to go for it anyway. Drops the Reaver here. The Wraith's just going to pick that shuttle off very quickly, but the Reaver's getting some good shots off. He's going to lose it to the Marines there, but these Dragoons, can they slip through this tight little corner? No, I don't think so. That's a very small spot there in between the Oh, he actually can get through there, just barely. He's gonna dive on top of this tank, trying to get out of range and pick one more off. He does get that tank, and will just position his Dragoons. Probably a sacrificial Dragoon here inside the natural. These other two can probably escape, though. And yeah, more tank damage, more tank kills here for Best.
Yeah, he's doing such a great job of limiting the critical mass of tanks that Royal can field right now. There is a dropship that's loading up, so I think we're going to see a little bit of a counterattack now. This could catch. As always, he's moving his Dragoons to the 9 o'clock. Okay, he knows. He saw it with the Observer, so he's going to move his Dragoons and intercept this dropship on the left-hand side. 4 Dragoons can kill this dropship. If Royal doesn't react, this is going to be huge. All 4 connect. One more volley. He gets the dropship. This is huge.
The dropship goes down. Any counterattack that was possible for Royal at this point has been completely shut down. Oh my god, another dropship.
Wow.
Is he gonna fly by this Observer again? This could be an absolute game ender here. If he loses a second dropship, that's so much supply and money that's gone into trying to deal some harassment. He's actually flying around the top side of the map, but there's a pylon here.
Yeah, he's going to see it with the pylon.
Oh my god.
And the Reaver in the main base as well. Huge detonation, killing 3 of those
there's
SCVs.
such a stack here of SCVs.
7. Oh, 5 SCVs just went down. Oh wow, the mine gets on the Reaver though.
The mine on the Reaver, it kills the SCV, building the command center. I don't know if Best saw that. I don't know if he saw the dropship moving around the map.
No, he was distracted with the Reaver. Yeah.
What's going on with the Reaver? Damn. Okay, so actually he has a chance right now to get some damage done. Royal gonna send these vultures to throw down some mines, get a position set up here so that the tank can possibly deal some damage. Bunch of probes being transferred around. Oh, these probes are actually going the wrong way. They shouldn't be heading in this direction.
Wrong way, buddy. You're
a great
lose
shot.
a few of those.
A great shot there from the tank. These probes are actually supposed to go around the top, outside the main, and then over towards that 4th base. But because of the structure of this map, not able to transfer correctly there. They were just gonna glitch up into that corner behind the temple, but now this dropship is gonna hide out here at the bottom of the map and wait for an opportunity, possibly to drop the tank once again, get some shots onto this 4th base. Looks like mine's gonna connect. Unfortunately for Best, he doesn't have his observers with this army. He's trying to get down here as quickly as possible to deal with this tank. Tank gonna siege up here? No, it does just load back up and going to escape onto this little lake here at the bottom of the map. And another drop going to come in for Best.
He can do a lot of damage with this if he can get these Zealots out and Reaver on top of the tank. But there are 2 Wraiths there to shut down that shuttle immediately. Reaver not able getting any Scarabs off there. A little bit of a miscontrol from Best, I feel. Unfortunate for him, they're not able to find any damage.
Did he forget to build
it's
Scarabs?
possible. It's possible he didn't make Scarabs. But oh, High Templar's getting sniped at the front. These vultures getting so much damage and coming into natural. Even taking out one of those gas probes, laying down a mine. It would be hilarious if we got a big detonation on the mines or the probes as well. Not going to happen this time. Best going to target down that mine and prevent that from happening. But really good play from Royal, finding lots of little pockets of damage to kind of limit this early game boost that Best had from killing those SCVs and that initial aggression, reducing his tank count. Now coming into the natural extension with the High Templar. Storm drop. Doesn't get it though. The Wraiths get on top of the shuttle. This is bad news for Best. He's throwing a lot of units away. I'm just going to morph an Archon. Did he forget Storm? Like, what happened there as well? I don't know what happened there as well. There's a bit of a blunder from Best on both accounts on those 2 drops so far.
Okay, that's strange, but it's still okay, I think, here for Best. He's got 5 bases up now. Getting some kills with this Archon is kind of hilarious. Didn't manage to pick off 1 SCV. Wraiths really don't do that much damage to ground, so it takes a long time to chip through that. This 5th base is now up. Probes are going to transfer, and a lot of gateways are going up here in the main. I think the big problem here for Best is that all his gateways are going to be in the bottom left, and if Royal manages to get a push to come out here and contain the natural of Best, there's only one other way to get out. That's going to be through the temple.
Well, Best wants to secure this other main base soon. He's taken the natural first, so he can kind of fortify this front up a little bit on the right-hand side. Then he's going to start throwing down pylons and additional gateways on this right-hand side base, I imagine. At least 4 gateways initially, and then maybe going up to even more as he starts to spread on the map and ramp up his production more and more. Royal is going to be wanting to take his own 4th base soon, so it looks like Best is going to try and stay ahead of him by 2 bases on the curve and try and outproduce him going into this late game phase.
Yeah, absolutely. Few Dragoons gonna come up here. Just kind of harassing, making sure that the mines are clear. The dropship has kind of hidden itself away in the bottom right-hand corner. I would have loved to see Best just right-click an observer onto that, just so that he always knows where it is, but it's kind of obfuscated itself. It's now landing in the bottom right. We're gonna get a shot of it now. Tank sieging up. Does get 1 shot off, but not on any of these probes. He's gonna have to pick up and bail out immediately. 1 more shot finishes it off.
Unfortunately, finally going to be taking out that dropship of Royal. No more harass for you, says Best, at least for the time being. So now he's going to be able to focus more on offense than defense with these auxiliary dragoons that he's got, that he can now use to start sweeping the map, trying to clear out some of the potential minefields that are around there. Now we'll be able to also merge his armies together with the speed shuttles, Storm and Zealots. We'll be able to start to try and see if we can find any holes and weakness inside the shell of Royal, but doing a little poor man's recall into the main base with 4 speed shuttles, dropping a huge ton of Zealots and maybe even a few High Templars in here as well. Is it just pure Zealot? Okay, a few High Templars in here as well. Going to be trying to storm these SCVs as they retreat to the mineral only getting a few of them though. Now with the Wraiths coming in, going to be trying to pick up these shuttles, but pretty big storms from those High Templars. Going to be a little bit of a nuisance for Royal to deal with, but he has to clean this up fairly efficiently, I would say, and didn't lose too many SCVs.
Yeah, he did a good job there cleaning that up, but he pulled back away from this potential 4th base location he was planning to take, and the army from Best is coming through, going to deal some damage. Another big storm there.
Huge storms in the natural. And now starting to break through this tank line at the front a little bit, delaying this 4th base, like you say, kind of using a little bit of a 1-2 punch to disrupt Royal's expansion efforts. And he's doing a good job of dislodging the Terran's position right now and kind of being a thorn in his side and making it really frustrating for him to come over and take us off. It's a very hard 4th base for Terran to take here on this map, and Best is trying to do his best, pun intended, to exploit that.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job here of slowing this down. Every moment that this is slowed down is going to slow down that push that Royal will eventually be coming out here with to shut down Best spots on the map. It's buying him essential time here to get some gateways up in the center right. He hasn't started adding them on yet, but he's got a few pylons coming down. There we go. Gateways starting to come up here. Another drop into the main. This could be another great storm drop. I don't see many SCVs here. He's just going to storm like 2 SCVs and try to make an Archon.
Yeah, maybe he should have gone to the middle only with those High Templars. No matter though, we do currently have 2-1 upgrades for Royal up against Best, +2 weapons upgrades, so pretty even on the upgrade curve, both players keeping up with one another in that regard, but Best doing such a better job of this production, currently sitting on 6 bases worth of economy with a few gateways going to be starting to go up. With another storm drop coming into this mineral only, huge storms going down on these SCVs, reducing the economy of Royal further, really disrupting his production capability right now.
Yeah, his SCV count is looking incredibly low. Did you see how many were at that mineral only and the main? Almost none. So I mean, Royal, he's managed to hang on. He's got this tank count growing. He's got the upgrades rolling, but I feel like if Best takes out some more of these tanks, if he shuts down this army a little bit, there's not going to be much left for Royal in his advantage at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Best once again going to be coming on over to this right-hand side where there's just nothing set up here. There's a few tanks pushed up against this water line with the D-Matrix, but nothing on the right-hand side. These SCVs and Command Center are going to be targeted down, while the rest of the Protoss infantry zone out the Terran army from coming across this bridge to support. Pretty good tactical play from Best here, understanding how to abuse the geometry of this map here, Medusa. And looks like Royal's going to have a really tough time getting his army across. Every time he's going to try and shuffle tanks over, Best is just going to come in again with his Zealots, with the Dragoons, High Templars waiting rotating. The Psionic Storms are ready to blanket the Terran army as well, doing true damage to them regardless of how much armor they got. There are some vultures target firing down some of the units at the front of Best, but they're just going to be mopped up very easily. So right now, Best is just whittling down the forces of Royal while going to town on its economy further. These SCVs now having to start to evacuate, while the rest of the Protoss army still trying to zone out the Terran from being able to stop him from preventing him from getting this expansion.
That delay effort I mentioned earlier was absolutely successful here. Best has more gateways now in the center right. Probably needs to add on another 5 or 6. He's got plenty of money here, and he's getting close to a max out. He's going to drop in the main once again, getting some more storms down. Storm on the tank, Storm on the SCVs. Not many SCVs left over here, though, as Royal comes up to clear this fourth base location and actually land this. I mean, his chances are getting lower and lower here. Another drop into the main. Oh my god.
Wow.
Relentless.
Best is just relentless this game. He's really like cranked up his aggression to 11 in this game, and I think that's the right choice on Medusa, taking advantage of the geography of this map and really putting Royal through the ringer here, forcing him to multitask his heart out as he tries to defend these multiple locations while ramping up our own production back at home. It's now, like you say, starting to set up these gateways on the right-hand side as we go forward in this game, able to produce a lot of High Templars, a lot more Zealots at a different rally point, so it doesn't even matter if the Terran is able to come out onto the map and contain the left-hand side or the right-hand side. We will have multiple rally points to use at our disposal to set up more counter-attacks and flanks. Going into the main base yet again with more speed shuttles, and this tank is already one shot, so this whole position is going to be cracked right open and force Royal to retreat more of his units to come back into the main to clean this up, delaying his efforts in getting a foothold out on the map even further.
Yeah, at 128 supply, he's not able to fight a 200 army, so he can't really move across the map or go for some sort of counterattack when these things happen. He just has to come back here to defend, and he keeps losing SCVs, he keeps losing army. It's a vicious circle here that continues to spin as Best just drops more and more here into the main and grows larger and larger on the map, while Royal just shrinks smaller and smaller, loses more of his economy, loses more of his army, and never really catches up here. And I think Best is close to closing this game now with five more shuttles. Holy
both
crap.
players have 3-1 upgrades, so they're both pretty ahead on their upgrades, but this actually suits the Protoss player just fine. When you're even on upgrades like this, you have your +3 weapons to the +3 weapons of the Terran. It's actually pretty Protoss favored in a lot of regards, unless you've got a big max 200 army, which Royal doesn't have. And now these speed shuttles coming into this fourth base location. There's a few science vessels here dropping an EMP on those shuttles and Zealots, and the High Templar denying one of the storms, but the other storm does get off before morphing into an Archon, so quite a lot of damage done to Royal regardless of his efforts to prevent that with the EMP.
Yeah, so many SCVs going down here. GG is called.
GG.
Royal taps out. Best takes him down on Medusa. Well, look who it is. Jaedong here in the bottom left-hand corner. Gonna be the next opponent for Best. Spawning here in the top left. Gonna get a nice PVZ on Vermeer. This should be a great match.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited to see the big donger at the keyboard yet again, spamming his fingers, dancing across that keyboard at 400 APM, getting himself warmed up, making sure he's still got it. He certainly does. He needs to maybe adjust his play a little bit for this modern era and this modern meta, but certainly can still hang with the best of them. And I'm sure we're going to see that today as he is up against one of the best of them, none other than Best.
I really want to see Jaedong in a macro game here. I think that Best is scary enough to take down Jaedong in the early game and in the mid game, but I would love to see the Swarm come out here. Jaedong, one of the best in the business at just making immense numbers of units and overwhelming the Protoss in the late game. He is so good at that.
Oh, absolutely. And he's going to be throwing down that fast pool as well, especially after seeing that probe come in. He knows he can't get that sneaky 11 hatch, so going to be instead having to throw down this pool early to deal with this fast probe scout of Best, which does kind of indicate a forge fast expansion rather than a gateway. And so probably will not be seeing any early Zealot pressure from Best, but beautiful micro from Jaedong getting some damage on that probe already. He wants to start chasing it out from his base so we can take these hatcheries on location without much distraction disruption, starting to get into the whole hit points of the probe. Beautiful moving shots from Jaedong, reducing the hit points of that probe. They do recover shields very quickly, so you have to be really on top of your micro to bully down the hit points of the probe here. And now Jaedong going to be able to get this hatchery uncontested.
Yeah, nice job by him. Constantly threatening the moving shot there on the probe. Just lowering that HP, preventing it from fighting there, and getting enough space to throw down that hatchery. Guys, I want to mention as well, we are on the new setup here. We've done some innovative things with our microphones as well to make Shun's voice sound a little bit crisper, a little bit better. I hope you guys are hearing that the same way that we are, and I hope that does sound better for your ears. If it does or doesn't, leave a comment down below. We're constantly trying to improve here at the KCM and make it a better experience for you guys, so we need your inputs to make that happen. Now, back into the game here. We've got Jaedong throwing down his gas, and the third base is on the way. Do you think he goes Hydra here, or does he throw down the Spire right away?
It's hard to say. The meta would indicate that he should throw down the Spire, but it's Jaedong and it's a horizontal expansion. I would like to see the Hydra Den. The problem is we haven't gotten rid of this probe scout. We only have two lings, so I think we are kind of forced to go lair here. Or he could go ling speed into like a kind of delayed Hydra bust. That he is trying to get the moving shot on this probe to get it out of his base, so that the option of throwing down the den would be viable. So we could at the very least. Oh, he's going to be throwing it down in his face anyway. He's just saying, "Yeah, I'm going to go for the 973. What about it? It might be a fake. It might not be. You're going to have to figure it out, buddy."
Yeah, this is a strong play as well. I mean, traditionally, you don't want to see, or you don't want to allow the Protoss player to see you're throwing down the Hydra Den, but the prevalence these days of the kind of fake Hydra buzz where you just kill the wall and then go into a macro game, a layer. Huh. What is going on here?
Big mind games coming out from Jaedong already. The Zealot, though, coming out is going to maybe help him identify what's going on here. So if the Zealot can get all the way down, the problem is I think he wants to go to the third base with the Zealot, because he wants to get a free drone kill without the links coming down to help. So the Zealot actually might not come in and confirm this lair, which actually might be huge for Jaedong.
Yeah, the most important thing right now for Jaedong is he needs to prevent this probe from scouting. Oh god, he's gonna get down here. He's gonna get down here. He's gonna see it. Oh,
he sees it. That's huge.
No.
And he's going to get a drone kill at the third base. Okay, that's critical damage for Jaedong. Getting that scouted and losing a drone at the third is a bit of a nightmare for him. It's definitely not what he wanted going forward. And there's even a Dragoon. Very, very meta game he plays coming out from Best. Making this Dragoon is very interesting indeed. Taking out this early Overlord and supply blocking Jaedong is really annoying for Jaedong to have to deal with. He doesn't anticipate losing that Overlord. He will have one on the way now, but it's going to supply block him at a critical time where he wants to make some drones right now, and that's going to really stifle his economy going forward.
Oh, look at his hiding place. Best hiding behind the rocks here. You can barely see the top of his head.
He's playing hide and seek, and he's winning right now. There is a Spire coming down for Jaedong in the main base, so maybe some potential for a little bit of an Ogre Zerg play coming up here. He does like to go for that huge flock of Muta Scourge. It's one of the things that he was really good at doing at one point, so he could go for that style in this game coming up if he so choose.
Yeah, he's sending some Hydras across the map, but this is only for a little bit of pressure, I feel. Actually, it's going to send these back now. Why did he make these Hydras? Seems a little bit strange. I guess he needs them to defend against possible Corsair, but the Corsair is late here. We got a Dragoon on the map. He's actually going to start hitting that Dragoon, but the Dragoon backs away instantly. Another drone goes down. Oh my god. So painful to see Jaedong lose these early drones like this.
Yeah, I mean, it is only 2 drones, but it is still a big deal for Zerg losing those early drones and getting any kind of disruption early. He did also lose that Overlord, which interfered with him being able to make drones at a key junction in his build order as well. So that really does frustrate the production and capability of Jaedong going forward. Now everything's a little bit out of sync. Just when he wants to start producing some units, he still needs to squeeze out a few drones here and there. It's not ideal for him going forward. He can still navigate this just fine, but it's definitely not optimal for him going forward.
Oh no, he's he's going to lose another Overlord here. He lost 2 Overlords so far. This 3rd Overlord's probably going to fall as well. The Dragoon is here to add that extra DPS and support. Here comes the Scourge. Run, 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 run. Okay, he's going to get the moving shot here. That Corsair is dead 100%. But I think the Overlord will still fall. No, he actually ignores the Overlord and heads directly down here to this bottom center. I don't think this is a good fight for Best. The SimCity here is really good, and this is a lot of mutas right now. He's going to start to kill these Zealots very fast.
He cannot afford to let these mutas run to his base right now after losing that Corsair, so he needs to buy as much time as possible. So he's just going to try and like sack these units at the 3rd base, kill as much as he can, kill the Sunken, kill a few drones, distract and buy time as much as possible so that he can get a few cannons up, build a few more Corsairs, because if he did just allow these mutas to come across, a lot more probes would be going down, so it would be a little bit frustrating for Best if he hadn't have done that. So he wanted to make sure he could get this cannon morphed in at his natural expansion and start building up his Corsair fleet once more.
Very good point there, Shin, but this is going to give Jaedong's quite a bit of time here. The mutas have bought him some leeway here in order to drone up once again. We've got Zealots running around the side of the map, but there are Hydras in that 3rd base to defend. We've also got the mutas still back here at home as well for the defense, so I don't think Best will find any more damage at this point, but you know, Jaedong not able to get across here and do anything with these mutas right now. He's just going to be sitting at home waiting for the next attack. He's going to dive on top of these Zealots, but more Zealots are coming here into the natural. It's only 1 Hydra, so these could deal some damage. It could kill a few drones. This is very difficult stuff to deal with. He kills 1 drone already, gonna get a 2nd one, looks like, and the 2 Zealots here looking for more drone kills as well. 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 drones gonna go down. Very frustrating stuff for Jaedong, but he's got to hold this for now. Just drone back up once again and set up for that next stage of the game.
Yeah, he has killed a lot of Zealots in the process, so there will not be that much map control that Best can leverage to eventually get his 3rd base that early. And with the Lurkers tech already being online for Jaedong, he will be able to fortify and maybe put on a little bit of a contain, but Best has identified that he needs to start getting this robotics out now, and he's got that on the way so he can get his observers. He understands that there is a threat of a contain coming up here. DT going to be trying to sneak into the main base, but there should be enough units here to shut this down from getting in there. Does, I think, manage to barely get it. Yeah, I think he's going to get it.
Couple more Zealots here in the 3rd base, gonna do some work on these drones once again, but the mutas just being on cleanup duty this whole time have done a good job of stopping this from doing too much damage.
Yeah, Jaedong's done a good job of mitigating a lot of the damage dealt to him by Best. He has lost a few drones in the process, but Best has bled off a lot of his army to achieve this, and now we have the Lurkers moving out, so we could see a contain set up for Jaedong here. Best does have this observer coming out soon, so he will have detection to try and break out of this contain. But it will. Oh, look at this! Scout's going to be Scourge going to be going into the main base and confirming the exact timing of that observatory as well. So Jaedong knows exactly when the observer will be finished, so he knows that he can set up this contain uncontested for the time being. There will be some storms coming down, but he can just shuffle out his lurkers from these storms as they come down. Oh, a little bit of a mistake though, putting that lurker in range of the cannon, reducing it down to 3 HP. A little bit of a misstep there for Jaedong, but does get the contain with the 3 lurkers starting to target fire this Forge of 2. Storm does come down on one of those other lurkers, softening it up for the breakout coming up soon. I don't think Jaedong's going to set up a hard contain here for the time being. It looks like he's just trying to get a little bit of damage done at the front.
Yeah, just making things a little bit difficult for Best right now. He's not able to take a third. He's not really able to do anything right now. Move out or protect this Forge here, but I feel like pretty soon Best is going to have that critical mass. He's going to come out and start to kill these. Yeah, we're not going to get the Forge, or are we? Oh, he gets it.
That's huge. He doesn't get the +2 armor. This is actually a big deal for Jaedong right now, because now we don't have this huge tankiness on the Protoss infantry that Protoss have come to love and have gone to choose and like kind of worship in recent years. It seems to be working out really well for them, getting that really fast +2 armor after the +1 weapons to really make your Zealots and Dragoons so much more tankier and dealing with the Hydras out on the map and the Lings. So going to be a lot more softer units for Jaedong to chew through here going forward.
Yeah, this is really helpful too, because Jaedong didn't go for +1 attack. He actually has armor on his Hydras, so reducing the armor here for Best is going to help him to chew through some of these units. It's going to make his army a little tankier, but it's not going to help him break through these zealots any faster. Now, let's see where Best goes with this first army. Jaedong already taking his 4th down here in the bottom right. Will be contested by this one single zealot. However, Jaedong should be able to clear that up with his cleaning duty mutalisks. These guys have been the maintenance men of the Zerg base for quite a while.
Yeah, they've been on janitor duty, but they've been doing a really good job of it, I have to say. Like, they deserve a raise, for sure. We do see Jaedong trying to control these ridge lines. Zergling counterattack coming to the 3rd base, going to be taking some of these cannons offline from going up, softening up this position, maybe for an attack later on as well. Mutas can come in here and harass the probe line, maybe a counterattack to snipe the Nexus later on. Jaedong has kind of 2 choices. Like, we stay on Battle Zerg and stay on Lair Tech and try and crack open the nut that is Best right now, or we can take the fact that he's taken this 3rd base and start to tech up straight into Hive. I'm not entirely sure what one Jaedong will choose. I think he's more of a Battle Zerg style player though, so I think it's very likely we'll see him want to make just a ton of units right now and try and fight the army of Best while staying on Lair Tech for the time being at least.
I'm of the other mind. I think that he's going to go Hive here in the very, very late stages of Zerg versus Protoss. Jaedong is king, man. He is amazing at producing insane numbers of cracklings, Hydra, Lurker, and wow, he's actually getting quite a bit of damage over here with just these few mutas. A bunch of drones are transferring to the bottom right, being stopped by this Dragoon, but those mutas will have to be sent back for cleaning duty. Best trying to push through this kind of weird location here. Not really the best spot to try and get in towards the natural. He's going to rotate back around, get a bit more of a wider angle here where he could push through. But this is already so many lurkers. I think that Jaedong will easily be able to transition into a Hive play from this spot. He's going to chase down this Dragoon and get his army over towards the side. Actually, Best has an opportunity here maybe to try and break up onto that 4th high ground, but there's only about 3-4 lurkers. He's not going to risk it for now, getting sandwiched here between the high ground and the main part of the map here if Jaedong rotates and catches him at this point. Now, Best trying to push through into this area. Gonna lose one of his observers here right off the bat. He's still got 2 left, but those are going to be prime targets here for Jaedong and his Scourge. He grabs another one. Only 2 left now. If either of those 2 get picked off, it's going to be a really big problem here. Jaedong going to run forward into this 3rd base, going to do a huge Ling Muta counterattack. This is quite the move here out of Jaedong. He's losing quite a few of his mutas, but the Lings are really getting their damage in here. Storms come down, but all the probes are dead.
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought he was going to try and do later on. He is going to be transitioning into Hive, but he is still kind of having a Battle Zerg mindset of trying to come in here and do these counterattacks, but he's playing a lot more passive while teching up into Hive. But he's still being like a very aggressive Zerg, but while also doing a very passive play, passive build order choice. But he's losing some of these drones in the bottom right to that one zealot a little bit, unfortunately. Now we see the Protoss infantry skirmishing with Jaedong in the middle of the map. You do kind of want to cycle through your storms and prevent your Templars from reaching full energy as much as possible, so you want to skirmish with the Zerg at the front as much as possible and keep rejoining your death ball with more and more reinforcements and try and overpower the Zerg with critical mass units. But look at the production from Jaedong right now, currently at 144 supply. Defilers now out, so we're going to have Dark Swarms and Plagues coming up, which is going to be really cost efficient in dealing with this Protoss death pool coming forward here. If you can just get this tech online, get this Plague finished, it's going to be really devastating for Best going forward. But if he comes in now, just before the Plague is ready, it could be bad for Best, bad for Jaedong.
Dark Swarms coming down here, making these Dragoons completely useless. Bunch of Lurkers and Lings are going to swarm forward. Start to pick off a few of these High Templars, as well as the Dragoons, as they're forced back. I am a happy camper right now. There's like feeling so good right now, seeing Jaedong getting into Defiler and that late game tag. He is going to explode on this map. There's going to be so many cracklings, so many Hydras. This is a massive map with tons and tons of expansions. We could see a really great long macro game here between these 2.
Yeah, I mean, Best is kind of set up to take the horizontal positions in this map as well. He has taken the 9 o'clock, but he could expand it across the other half of the map. Big Plague from Jaedong, going to be softening up these units at the front from Best, while some Dark Swarms come down as well. But there is not that much army behind this. Jaedong needs to reinforce and flank from the left-hand side as this army comes in, and he's kind of using this base to to bait Best right now, because as Best comes deeper and deeper, the army... Oh, Jaedong's actually just going to go for the counterattack. He might just sacrifice these beasts. He might just sacrifice the base and instead go for a counterattack. This is kind of crazy from Jaedong.
A knight is coming up here, so eventually he will be able to reinforce this position. Dark Templar is such a good play at this point. Best just having a few of these out. It's really hard to bring Overlords into the right position to deal with this. Lurker's going to come up here and cut off the retreat of Best's army, but I think he's just going to go for this third base. It's not going to be the biggest kill here because the fourth base is up, but bringing the Overlord forward, this is a really good move by Jaedong. He's going to kill all of these. Oh, he lost the Observer. He can't actually kill these Lurkers now. That is a massive move.
There is a few more observers, but there is a few more observers, but I'm not sure. Is he going to lose this Nexus? I think he might be able to save the Nexus if he comes in now.
Wow, actually, yeah, gonna save this Nexus. This is way too many cannons and a Templar to try and break the center left. He's gonna try for it. Jaedong gonna take a base in the bottom left here at that kind of natural third base location. He's gonna snag that right now. He's got the Nidus in the bottom right-hand corner. I don't know about this counterattack, though. I feel like he could have crushed the army of Best in the bottom right instead.
I think you're right, but he also has put himself into a winning position here. This is a position he can win from, and he's really like disrupted the mining pattern of Best, and he's now starting to become mined out in his natural and soon his main. So if he can just keep the pressure on and prevent Best from securing too strong of a foothold in these bases, maybe he can crack the nut. That is Best. He has enough production to do so. He didn't lose the main base in the bottom right. Still has enough production to keep going forward. Is basically doing the Battle Zerg way of playing, just also got the Hive Tech as well. So kind of interesting playstyle from Jaedong, kind of like double dipping, both going into the Hive Tech and also wanting a strong Battle Zerg style of gameplay behind it as well. Really putting the pressure on Best and trying to kill him early on here. Still ahead in supply by a little bit, which does favor the Zerg.
Yeah, here comes the Defilers now as well. Breaking that bottom right base was really tough because we had those Lurkers and Defilers, but now we're actually going to be forced to break this high ground here, which is going to be even worse. Trying to get up on Jaedong in this high ground area, and all the units are plagued as well. Oh my god. This is going to be almost impossible breaking through this location right here, and he really needs to do it because the moment he backs away from this spot, Jaedong's going to come forward with some Dark Swarms and try to crack the center left there, and you know, Best can't allow that to happen. He's out of money in his main and natural. He's only got this base and that third base operational. He has to keep this alive right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, Jaedong's slowly getting more and more bases and hatcheries online, so ramping up in his production while kind of Best stagnating a little bit. So this definitely is very favored for Jaedong right now. If he can maintain the game state, it is a very tenable position for him to continue playing. We do have a big force moving out cross map positions now for Best, trying to come down into his bottom right yet again. So Jaedong's going to have to maybe this time go for the sandwich and crush the army rather than going for the counterattack. But knowing Jaedong, he might do something crazy again and might just sacrifice this base in the bottom right with Dark Swarms. But it looks like Best is kind of thinking better of it, and instead going to rotate round back to the middle to try and like force an engagement with the main Zerg army here.
Yeah, you can't take a fight with all this number of Lurkers under Dark Swarm with the Zealots that have been plagued. It's just not going to work out for you. So comes up here, he throws down some Storms and gets some kills there, but he can't break either of these positions right now, or he's just going to be in so much trouble. Ton of Lings being produced right now. He knows that he just needs to surround and finish this army off, and he will win this game because Best has not been expanding on the map. There's so many bases out here for Jaedong now. Here comes another Defiler. Gets a great plague there on some of those Dragoons. The Lurkers are backing up. We don't have too many Sunkens, but he's throwing down some more now. Where is the main army of Jaedong right now? He needs to bring it up and flank this.
Wow, it's just such a big force for Best, but it doesn't really matter. Jaedong has just such a presence on the map, so much more production than him. He is starting to dwindle in supply a little bit. Best is doing a good job of of skirmishing with this Death Ball, which is what you should be doing as Protoss, kind of laying siege to the Zerg, just trading storms and softening up the unit count of Jaedong as much as possible going forward. But he needs to take a 5th base. He's going to be drying up soon. If he doesn't start killing some of these Zerg bases, then he's going to be in big trouble. And Jaedong's already ready to kind of set up for a counter play as soon as Best starts to try and move to take some of these bases. So Jaedong's just waiting in the wings, looking for his moment to strike here.
His upgrades are looking so good as well. He's on 3 armor, 2 melee attack. I haven't seen the Hydra attack for a little while, but I'm assuming that's going to be just about done with 3 upgrades here. So his army is so incredibly strong. He's really starting to pump that up as well. 161 supply is a fearsome Zerg force, and it could be crashing down on Bez here in just a moment as he moves towards the bottom right again. Gonna try and crack this position, but I mean, he's got to beware of the flank right now. There's a huge army at Jaedong's naturally. He just needs to get it together and send it over here, and he should be able to crack this. A lot of sunken colonies actually being cucked here because of the Dark Swarm, not able to deal any damage. I'd love to see a Spore here. Those always deal damage. Even if there is Dark Swarm, you can kill off the observers and sandbag the push. Looks like Jaedong gonna catch some of this army moving through the middle of the map and maybe shut down this base here at the top center once again. He's not concerned at all with surrounding this army, actually. Just constant counterattacks from Jaedong on the best bases. He knows he just has to hold on here. A queen! What is this?
He's got 2 queens. Yeah, maybe for Ensnare. I think he just wants, maybe Broodling, he wants to just slow down this army of Best as much as possible while denying a 5th base going up for him. But Best is like finally calling Jaedong's bluff and is actually fully committing to killing these bases in the bottom right. So Jaedong's going to now finally come down and start dealing with this army in the bottom right. But he has a Nidus Canal, he has Dark Swarm set up, so he can deny Best from getting up the top of the rank or starting to sandwich the army from the west as well. There is still a lot of Archons for Best, but they're only doing splash damage onto the Dark Swarms. They're not really doing the huge DPS that they need to. Now Dark Swarms have started to dissipate, but there is still Defilers here to throw down some more. So beautiful defense from Jaedong, kind of isolating this army in the bottom right, starting to whittle it down, and Best still doesn't critically have this 5th base online, Zayn.
The walls are closing in here. Jaedong surrounding this army slowly but surely. High Templar being reinforced, getting at some great storms down here on some of these Hydras, and he actually opens up a path there to escape. All these Archons are incredibly valuable. He does not want to lose this kind of core of the army here. These 5 Archons are going to retreat, but that's really the last big army I think that Best can field at this point. He needs a 5th base. He needs to move to the 12 o'clock and take that. I mean, he's not going to kill Jaedong here. There's no way. Even if he kills the bottom right, there's more bases. There's more bases everywhere. So killing bases should not be on Best's mind right now. Securing the future in this game has to be #1 priority here. But he's heading down towards the natural again. He's not taking on the base.
He's kind of like in desperation mode right now, trying to find something to work with, but he's not getting anything done. Jaedong's kind of all over him, already moving his lurkers into a nice big minefield formation. This bottom left Parasite, so he sees everything. He sees all the movements of Best right now. He's basically got map hack on this army, and in the hands of someone like Jaedong, that's pretty scary. Plague on the Archons, not really that cost efficient of a unit to plague, but it doesn't really matter at this point. As long as you're cleaning up any of the Protoss army, you're doing a great job as Jaedong. Now starting to race ahead in supply a little bit, and without this base secured for him, it's looking good for Jaedong. It's looking really good, and he's kind of really outplayed Best in Higgs. Every time Best came down to take this bottom right quadrant of the map, he just knew that Best wanted to expand behind it, so instead of going to clean up the army, he went for the counterattack to deny the base from going up each time, and has really kind of outmaneuvered Best in that regard and played very defensively back at home. Meanwhile, and now we see the Protoss army coming in yet again. Beautiful side storms coming on these few Zerg units. Jaedong's drying up a little bit at this position, so you might be able to get in here a little bit and do some damage here, but eventually there's not going to be any reinforcements for Best going forward, so Jaedong will whittle this Protoss army down to a nub over time.
Yeah, the Archon army is pretty significant. That's a lot of Archons, but they're running here directly into lurkers, taking a lot of that splash damage. The army is coming around and surrounding Best's Archon force here. Few zealots managed to reinforce though and flank the Hydras, and more lurkers are gonna come up. He's killing this base. Actually, he got the base. Are you kidding me?
Jaedong was a bit cocky and didn't actually send a lot of his units over from the right hand side and top hand side of the map. He had plenty of units he could flood down here. Was ahead in supply, but now has whittled down his own fort and being a little bit arrogant in how he dealt with that army of Best. Didn't respect the Count of Archons quite enough, I would say.
Yeah, now he's gonna surround it once again, but more zealots have arrived. Wow.
Wow. Jaedong's actually giving some counter options to Best here. Losing that base like that and losing the army in piecemeal is kind of given Best a little bit of a chance to come back in this game. Maybe start to secure his base in the near future.
He's not even interested in that. He's just gonna attack with these 5 Archons. I think this is a mistake. After killing that base, don't you want to go back and actually, you know, secure your future here, Best? Are you just gonna keep on attacking? He says no. He says you don't have that much left over, I think, Jaedong, and maybe I can finish you off. Double storm, they're gonna kill both of those lurkers. Really nicely done. More zealot reinforcements coming down here, and there's not really much over here for Jaedong in the bottom right. Hydra's coming out unmasked. He knows that he just needs to fight this Archon army. Few lurkers mixed in to deal with the zealots. He's gonna lose his base.
Well, this is getting to be crazy. There's still some High Templars here that can storm these reinforcing units coming from the west as well. Jaedong's trying to get in there, but big storms. The Observer's missing, going down on those Hydras and killing them all. So a lot of Hydras went down for Jaedong right there. Now Best's going to be able to get onto the high ground as well. There was an egg block on the ramp, but it's not going to be sufficient. We start to come into the main base in the bottom right quadrant of the map now. Best has enough units to do a lot of damage to Jaedong. A lot of those Hydras did get stormed that were coming in to help from the west, so not a lot left for Jaedong here. He's kind of falling apart. Like, he kind of really outmaneuvered himself by just not sending all of his units to deal with the army when it was attacking that expansion right then and there. He kind of like just allowed him to fight a little bit of his army at a time and allowed those Archons to go. GG! Unbelievable!
Unreal. Best with the 4 base play. Managing to take down Jaedong with, like, how many bases did he have there? 6?
Yeah.
It's the clapper. Well deserved there. I thought Jaedong had that game 100%, but just constant attacking from Bez, not allowing Jaedong to get his footing, actually worked out in his favor, surprisingly.
What a comeback.
Wow. I am just about speechless here.
Yeah.
That Best managed to take that game. He's going to move on to face up either against Light or Rush in this next one. It's coming right up. Game number 3. Best has advanced surprisingly there against Jaedong. I really thought he was going to take that game, but Best on fire today. He's going to go up against Rush here on Nemesis. The vertical spawns. I haven't seen a whole ton of TVP here, but it is a very interesting map with plenty of surprises, plenty of different strategies being utilized by all races. We'll see what Best decides to bring out here against Rush.
Yeah, I wonder, I haven't, like you saying, haven't seen a lot of PvT on this map, so I'm curious about what the choice will be from Best. If we're going to be seeing maybe a little bit of a greedier third Nexus timing with being able to sneak out these sort of semi-island bases earlier on. We do have a very aggressive forward gateway from Best, like he wants to put on some pressure early, but not going to be able to scout Rush first and steal the gas or anything like that. So I don't imagine he'll get a lot done with this initial Zealot pressure on Rush here, but nonetheless, I think he may be adapting his strategy for this map going forward for sure.
Yeah, it's nice to have the gateway out in the front here on this map, but, you know, popping out Protoss units on the low ground is not really going to help you too much if you get rushed. Get trapped on that low ground and lose your Nexus is pretty rough. He's going to rely on making sure that he can hold back the Terran player in the early game. You know, if there was some sort of rush from Rush, it's gonna have to be held before he gets to this gateway, otherwise he will lose this game. If you lose that gateway, your production and your Nexus is just, it's too much damage, so he will have to be producing a lot here. Rush not gonna go for a double factory or anything like that. Looks like he just wants to go for a single factory and to expand. Wouldn't expect anything less from him.
Yeah, it did pull those workers off gas, which indicates that. And this probe really wants that SCV. Like, he's been chasing it around the map for quite some time. Has got it down to 15 HP, so just 3 hits away. SCV going to see the timing of that Zealot come across, and the Marines are going to be saving that SCV. Does get back to base safe and sound, ready to start a union with the rest of its SCV brethren.
I said I haven't seen this map played much in PvT, but the maps that the games that I have seen have been Terran taking a quick expansion, gasless fast expand. Now he's gonna come in here. Oh, God, gets one Marine right off the bat. That's not a good sign for Rush. He loses an SCV as well.
Yeah, the probe of best adding just a little bit of DPS there, helping these 2 Marines just absolutely go pop, and a little bit of pressure on Rush. Gets another Marine, now going to be swinging into the mineral line, maybe getting the SCV as well. With the probe, does kill these SCVs in far fewer shots, so wasn't able to get the SCV kill there, but a lot of pressure on Rush early here with the initial Zealot. So good play from Best so far. Getting that scout in the main is also going to be a big deal for him. Going to be denying any scouting of what he will be doing as a follow-up. It could be DTs, it could be a Robo, it could be a fast expand. Like, now Rush is going to have no idea what's going to be coming out of Best coming up here.
Well, we've got a Nexus on the way here and a Dragoon out in the front. If he leaves this wall again, oh my God. Are we going to get another run by with a bunch of probe kills
Maybe.
From Rush? Best just leaving his wall wide open, and he's sending both these units down. He's going to try and confirm, it looks like, this.
There's no tank in production, there's no Vulture in production, so unless he's probably just started it now, but he could have gone in there, but he doesn't know. He doesn't know that there was no unit being made behind that. So there's only like 2 Marines in that bunker. He could have came in, but instead just wants to poke at the front and then retreat back home. I guess he's also now worried about the Vulture out on the map because he didn't see any units at the front as well. So now he's worried about some Vultures sneaking in and getting some probes and getting a scout confirmation on what's happening right now. So instead going to be trying to chase around the map with this Dragoon to see if he can find this Vulture that he thinks is out on the map, correctly so.
It's important as well to check these eggs, as you saw Best doing a moment ago. The Vultures can actually chew through eggs surprisingly fast with their explosive damage, so it is important. Or is it concussive damage? Sorry, I can't actually remember. But they do kill eggs relatively fast. Even just 2 will chew through an egg very, very quickly. So you need to continuously check those. If you're planning to take that 3rd base at 12 o'clock, you don't want to allow Vultures to just kill those off for free and make their way in there, throw down a mine or anything like that. It can be very annoying.
Yeah, Rush also going to start mining up the map with these Vultures and be a little bit annoying to Best, also trying to shave off some of the shield hit points with those fragmentation grenades. Yeah, they are concussive. They do full damage to shields, but very much reduced damage to units normally, but they can do great work at taking out things like eggs, so they do have other uses as well, even though the damage type is not usually ideal.
Here he is taking out these eggs. He's trying to open up this space here so they can get through and stop Best from taking a free base right now. Best running around with 2 Dragoons. Very, very scary play, but he actually walks right around this. Crazy.
That's nuts to me. That's crazy what we just saw. And he's not even running. What? You're kidding me. This guy is like the Flash of Protoss with this star sense right now. That's mind-blowing what he just pulled off. Like, after predicting the exact location of the mines. Oh, does slip up there and eat that mine for free, though. A little bit of unnecessary. Does pick off that 3rd mine. Would have been devastating for him if he had lost those 2 Dragoons for free there. Unbelievable that he managed to dance around that. He's playing Minesweeper. It's like he sees the numbers. He sees the Matrix saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe just knowing Rush inside and out here, able to predict where every single mine is going to be. Now the drop comes in, immediately gets shut down. This one Vulture maybe going to get 1 or 2 kills here, but not much more than that. He gets another one, so total 3 kills here, but that's it for this dropship, and 3 Vultures. Really not the greatest harassment from Rush. He won't be able to shut down the 12 o'clock Nexus. He barely gets any kills in the main. Best just maneuvering so beautifully here. This is not recommended, though. Do not try this at home, guys. Running around with 2 Dragoons, trying to run around mines, kind of insane, actually. You really should just get an observer out and deal with that properly.
99 times out of 100, that would be absolute insanity, but Best pulls it off. A little Vulture sneaky coming into the 12 o'clock, going to be taking out that probe. The dropship going to be scooping that up again momentarily. Could also go for another drop in the main base with that Vulture, keeping the pressure on Best so he knows that there's some force, but Best doesn't care. He's going to be poking in the front and seeing what he can get done. Sees that there's a few too many siege tanks set up though, so not going to be pushing the issue, just losing one Dragoon there for a little bit of potential pressure that he could have maybe gotten in there, sniped off a tank or two if the position was weak enough. But Rush has ticked all the boxes right now, crossed all of his T's, dotted all his I's, and has the defense that he needs to weather the beast that is Best right now. But these Vultures might be able to catch these probes coming up on the left-hand side if Best is not careful. But I think he's on top of things. I think he's manually controlling those probes, and he's going to come in with these Dragoons and get this dropship out there first. Best is like on top of everything right now.
Yeah, keeping his probe line alive here. A little bit crazy for him to try and dive into the natural, but you know, taking a little prodding attack there, seeing what he can find out. The observer now in the base sees everything, and he should know now that there's no real pressure that can be done at the front of Rush's natural. That's a no-go zone here for the Dragoons of Best, but he will be producing Reavers now and looking for other opportunities to deal damage.
Yeah, he's coming in the front. Again, one thing I would like to point out that I've noticed with veteran StarCraft players is one thing they do so well is they always apply pressure to their opponents. They lean on their opponents, and as soon as they find resistance, they stop leaning on their opponents. But as soon as they lean on their opponent and they find a little tiny bit of weakness, they then capitalize on that and try and utilize that as a win condition to snowball their advantage further. But they are constantly trying to look for weakness and leaning on the opponent to try and find any kind of holes that they can exploit. They're kind of making sure that you're ticking all your boxes and not trying to like skimp on anything. So if you don't make enough turrets, maybe they'll exploit that, for example.
Absolutely. Best now taking out one assimilator on each of these different locations here. That's going to allow probes to slide through. It won't allow vultures in. Oh, this vulture drop, managing to get a few more kills, but Dragoons are already here. They're going to finish that off pretty darn quick. So good defense by Best. And as I was saying, he's taking out... Oh, wow.
He kills the mine with the Riscara.
Kills the mine. That's crazy. Manages to keep that alive, and he's going to slow down this attack even more. But as I was saying, he's killing off the assimilators, just one of them at a time, so he can close off the area to things like... Oh! What?
No, we lost both Reavers to the mine. Oh no, his star sense was on the fritz that time. Didn't sense the mine there. Oh no, Best, losing both your Reavers to a mine is devastating, because now Rush can just come across the map for free. There's nothing to slow down this push anymore and force these tanks to siege and re-siege over and over again. So now Rush going to be putting on the pressure now, coming into his natural expansion, starting to lay down mines on top of these slow zealots and Dragoons. There's not really much that Best has to fight this with. Just a shuttle with some zealot bombs to try and fend off his attack, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. Rush is just going to try and bulldoze him over in this game right here, right now, before Zealot's even finished.
Yeah, Best never going to let me finish what I was trying to say, but Rush now just going to push forward and try to end this game right here, right now. Slow zealots are coming out. They don't have that speed. The Dragoons are going to dive on top of some of these tanks, but the zealot bomb's not really working out well here. So many vultures just cleaning this up easily, and GG is called.
GG.
Wow. Best walking the tightrope. He slips off, lands on a mine, and kills both his Reavers. That is a harsh way to go out, losing both your Reavers to a mine. That's probably the best value in StarCraft. One mine for two Reavers? You gotta be kidding me.
It's pretty good, Sam. It's pretty good.
Yeah, free units for Terran, killing two full Reavers, and Best just not having the army behind it to hold off that follow-up attack. And now that he's been shut down, Rush is going to go up against either Soma or Silky next in game number 4. Gonna jump right into that. Okay, with Best being eliminated, we've got Soma coming out here against Rush here on Heartbreak Ridge, a ZVT. How do you feel about this map? I feel like a Mutalist play is really, really good here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like unquestionably, Musilisks are extremely strong here. There are some options to do some kind of lurker play with these minerals in the back, but someone of Rush's caliber, you're probably not going to trick enough to be able to pull that kind of build out. He probably will have something scouting the back mineral at some point, and it's a bit too risky to go for that play here. And Soma is just so good with his mutas, so it's most likely he will be just going for a 2-hatch muta style going forward against Rush here, and can really exploit some of the geography of this map with these minerals right up against the cliff. Can be very tricky for Terran to maneuver around and defend against the mute harass as they swing from the natural to the main.
Yeah, there is buildable terrain above that cliff. You can put turrets up there, but it's a little bit rough either way. The other thing to mention here is that it is possible to go for factory out on the map and float it into the main of the Zerg player. It's also possible to do like a 1-inch drop here from the top left-hand corner into the Terran main. So those are things to keep an eye out for. Unlikely that we'll see it here. Rush and Soma, both two of the best players with just standard, you know, 2-hatch versus 2 barracks play, excuse me. So we'll probably just see that out of the two of these guys, but we've got to keep our eyes open. Anything can happen here in the KCM.
Yeah, after scouting the 12-hatch, Rush also didn't make a Marine and threw down his command center at 15, which is a nice little adjustment to get a greedier timing command center and take advantage of the fact that the Zerg won't have any lings early. So good adjustment for him as well, getting a really nice early economic boom from taking that early command center and skipping the ring with the wall in as well. Going to be safe to any kind of Zergling pressure. So we'll be trying to keep this SCV scout alive for as long as possible, confirm that spire timing, and then we'll be having to set up his Mutalisk defense going into like the sort of 6-minute mark.
So this is a full wall-in. Unfortunately for Rush, the Marines are going to be popping out on the outside here, going directly into an E-base. So very, very fast +1 out of Rush. We're not going to see him going for, you know, that really early timing with the 2 racks stim timing. Try to break the front here for Soma. Instead, he's just going to power up. Probably get into more than just 2 racks with that +1 and really lean into Marine production this game.
Hey, we did see the Overlord dip his toe into the pool that is Rush and confirm the exact gas timing as well. He saw exactly when the gas finished for Rush, so he can kind of confirm the tech pattern of the player here. So we'll be very comfortable going forward. Just going to be making 6 Zerglings to kind of have a little bit of map control, so no Marines can come out on the map and cause any nuisance. 1 Zergling going to be remaining behind, it seems, to maybe catch any kind of scouting SCV later on. Speed is also now finishing up, so going to be able to catch these SCVs with these speedlings, denying the scouting of Rush further, keeping him in the dark while this Mutalisk timing is going to be ramping up soon.
Yeah, nice play here by Soma, just catching that SCV. Yeah, without getting a SCV into the main base, he's going to have to rely on scans, and you never want to use both scans against Zerg because you don't know if there's going to be some lurkers coming up here. So he's going to use 1 scan, and he's going to have to whirl with that information alone in figuring out what he wants to do next here. But I think the tech path, the decision tree has already been made here for Rush. He's going to have a ton of Marines to come out and do a big timing push with. Actually, this is not completely walled in. I don't know why I thought it was, but the barracks over at Supply Depot does not wall in against Ling or
There's 1 gap,
Marine.
yeah. There's still 1 gap you have to hold, but that's still fine, right? Because you can just plug that with a Marine or an SCV or what have you. So yeah, now going to be having the medics to act as a wall. So it's still a very safe wall, having just the singular gap. You can block it up, and only 1 Zergling being able to attack at a time. It's very hard to break through there. So still a very tight and safe wall for Terran going forward. But like you say, going to be going up to 4 racks production. Definitely wants to get out on the map. When you see the 4 racks early like this, it's usually indicative of the fact that he wants to build on a lot more map pressure with his bio. 3 racks not quite enough to keep up with the Mutalisk production of these early hatcheries, so getting that 4th rack is going to be affording him enough Marines going forward to start to lift off the barracks now. Maybe going to be floating that back into the main base for a more solid production so he can start to come out on the map. But Mutalisk going to be flying into the main base in a moment, maybe taking out some of these SCVs as they try and set up turrets here on the production line of the Terran.
Yeah, and Rush actually pulling off of gas here. He's only got one SCV mining gas, so you can tell that he is really committed to this Marine play. He's going to throw up a bunch of turrets. He's going to have 4 barracks here with just a huge amount of Marine production. And if Soma's not careful, this army is going to come out here with that +1 power spike and maybe break the front of Soma. He's got to harass this Marine medic group as it's coming across the map, and he's probably got to switch into lurkers here as well. Fighting this with just pure Muta and Ling is going to be really, really hard.
Yeah, and Rush is just going to go across the map with his army and force these mutas to have to go home to defend. There's currently no Sunkens, like you say, to defend against this. He's going to be trying to snipe a few Marines on the way out, but he's going to have to be retreating. He's only got a few mutas here, so he's only got like 6 to 7 mutas out on the map right now. It's actually not enough to kill this army either. And now we'll be waiting for a few more mutalisks to come out of these eggs, as they just do, to finally put on the pressure of this Bible. Rush is wisely going to run home with his army because he knows that he'll be overrun soon if he stays out on this map with this Bioforce. So he needs to step back a little bit, regroup up with another few reinforcing Marines before going out forward again.
Yeah, he does do that regroup. Has a big army now moving across the map, and he will be reinforcing this continuously from this position. Soma's actually out in front of this Marine medic force. He's trying to utilize this high ground here to try and take a good trade against the Marines, but Marines are going to move through the middle of the map here, not allow him to fight from high ground. Take some good trades here against these mutalisks as well.
Wow.
Marines pushing everything back. Soma, I don't think he's going to be able to overwhelm this, but let's just see how he can trade with these mutas.
It was really nice hold position micro from Soma there, clicking really far past the bio balls so that the mutas would shoot in a better spread, and doing a great job of picking off 2 Marines at a time with that muta stack. Does shave off one of the mutalisks there. Rush doing a good job of keeping his Marines in a tight square formation against these mutas, which is exactly what you want to do to mitigate their potential damage. You don't want to have straggler Marines that can be picked off easily. You want to be standing in a nice big tight box when dealing with the mutas and then trying to get into a line formation or as parallel to them to try and get as much DPS as possible. Soma going to be coming in here and taking out 2 of the turrets on the racks as well, opening up destruction. These Marines are a little bit naked. Medic coming up to help them, but Soma's going to be cleaning up all of this bio, and it's completely cracked open the Terran production right now, but has to retreat to defend against this bio. But he has enough mutas in production at home that maybe he can defend at home while staying in over here. But it looks like he does want to just retreat with his mutas and try and sandwich this army, while also delaying at the back with these reinforcing mutas here. So I think that Soma might be able to just crush this bio force. It's going to be a few seconds of a window here where he can kill a few medics, but a few drones, but there's not much more time for Rush to do any damage here. Soma's just going to come in and mop up all of this bioforce with this superior muta count. Oh wow.
Wow, these Marines are trading way too well, dude. This is not looking good for Soma. He's down to just 3. 3 mutas are left. 1 Marine here. He is going to finish this off, but that was a great trade for Rush. He forced the mutas out of his main base, and the Marines just traded very well against these mutas, eliminating a ton of them. This is not even a threatening force anymore. Soma's going to be transitioning here, and Rush no longer really has to worry about mutas on his side of the map.
I was almost speechless as I saw the target firing of Rush come down there, just gunning down the mutas in such short order. Like, Marines have such a high damage threshold that if you don't kill them quick enough, then they just absolutely obliterate your mutas. And there was too much of a spread of glaives and not killing the Marines fast enough for Soma. Needed to micro that a little bit cleaner, I think, to clean up efficiently, and wasn't able to do so. So many mutalisks went down, so there's so much map control for Rush going forward here. Just a little handful of 6 mutas left to try and delay this force while he tries to transition into lurkers and set up a little fortified position with those Sunkens and lurkers for the time being. But yeah, so far that went really well for Rush.
Rush here, keeping the pressure on the map right now. Big force heading towards the natural. It's probably not going to be enough to break, but we don't have lurkers yet, so he could force the mutas to engage him once again. Maybe pick off the remainder of these mutas. Get this sunken colony. I don't think he can bust all the way through right now, but he's setting up more reinforcements. Maybe with this reinforcement wave, he can try and get through this natural here. Good micro there from Soma, picking off a few more units. He catches this resupply, but not in time. And now Rush brings all of his Marines and medics together. That is a fearsome force here to contend with. Soma, he should have lurkers on the way right now. There they are in the eggs. And that should be enough to hold off Rush in this position.
Yeah, there was a small window there for Rush where he could have came in to the natural of Soma and punished the fact that the lurkers were morphing in late, but it is still a little bit of a gamble. He doesn't know exactly how many forces are there to pincer the bio group. Could have been some Zerglings to help out the muters and more muters waiting in the wings, so a little bit risky there for him to commit, so doesn't do so, doesn't pull the trigger on that, but going to be coming back in and do a little stim turnaround, catches a few of the muters and the lings as well. With the 2 vessels now out, he's going to be able to put a lot more pressure on Soma in the coming moments of this game, catching a few more of these Zerglings out in the middle of the map as the Terran player makes his way across Heartbreak Ridge all the way to the right-hand side. He can put a lot more pressure on Soma. Soma's going to try and do a little bit of a counter-attack and catch out some of these reinforcing units, maybe get into the natural if he can, but he needs to make sure he can get something done here soon. Rush is already set up with a bunker back at home, so Soma's not going to be coming into that. There is some Scourge ready to catch out these vessels, but only 1 sunken and a small stack of lurkers. There is an Overlord flying over. He's going to go for the maneuver with the defense matrix to draw the fire off the lurkers and go for a sunken bust. This is huge play from Rush. Can go really well or really badly, but so far it's going really good. Muters do come in from the south to try and pincer some of these Marines, but he's getting on top of the sunken, kills that as well, and now the lurkers have all gone down. Lurkers from behind. GG is called from Soma. Beautifully executed bust from Rush.
Wow. The Marine control throughout this game, incredibly impressive stuff from Rush. Our Terran player advances here and will be going up against either Snow or YSC in game number 5. That was really impressive play out of him, dealing with Soma's 2 Hashmuda in the best possible way. Something that is just really difficult to do, man. Soma is so good at this style, and he made it look broken what Rush was doing there.
Absolutely phenomenal control from Rush there. Just stellar Marine control from start to finish. Like one of the best in the business at it, especially with Flash out of action. So really like to see that from him. Really stellar bust. Loving the use of the defense matrix to draw the fire off the lurkers. Even with Soma retargeting with his lurkers wasn't enough. There was only a small lurker stack there of 2 with an Overlord floating above it. So it was safe against the irradiates protecting those lurkers, but not safe against the double D matrix play. Really well calculated and abusing of Rush to go for that there.
All right, Rush gonna advance into game number 5 here. His opponent will be YSC, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner. Rush here in the top left. We are on Dark Origin. This new map, the 2-player map here. Gonna be seeing how this plays out in TVP. We haven't seen a lot of TVP here, but generally controlling the center of the map has been a huge theme on this map.
Oh, absolutely, Sin. Yeah, we do see the forward pylon coming up from YSC. Going to be probably wanting that forward gateway as well to put on a little bit of Zealot pressure, but we did see many times other Terran players handling the early Zealot pressure really well on this map, so probably won't get too much done. I would think Rush is pretty stellar in his early game control, so probably won't lose too much to this early pressure from YSC going forward. And these middle bridges are so difficult for Terran to get across those, so if YSC can slow down Rush when he tries to come out onto the map through those bridges, can be a little bit of a nightmare situation for the Terran. But once they do explode out into the middle, it can be very difficult for Protoss to defend those big timing pushes that we have seen from those sort of like 5 factory plays.
Oh, does he have the money to steal the gas? Looks like he does. He does nag that gas geyser. So taking control of the game a little bit here, YSC will have a slight advantage going forward because he does know kind of what Rush has to do here and can maneuver himself into a good position from this. But Rush, a seasoned veteran, he knows exactly how to handle this, and he may have some tricks of his own to come out here after this opener, to come down to the low ground here, get his command center started, get that barracks or that bunker up as soon as possible to deflect these incoming Dragoons and Zealots. Looks like maybe skipping a Zealot here, possibly just going to go straight into Dragoon. No, he wants to pressure, right? I don't know how this build works.
Well, he definitely wants the pressure. He hasn't taken his gas yet, so he definitely wants to probably make Zealot, Zealot, Dragoon at the very least. It might even be Zealot, 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 Dragoon. Or it could be Zealot, Zealot, Nexus, then gas. It's a few options that he has at his disposal here. We'll also be slowing down this SEV from getting in the base for a scout. Actually, he wants to turn around and deny the SCV. Beautiful block on that SCV, getting 2 shots off on it as well, reducing it down to half HP already. It's going to be throwing down that Nexus after the initial Zealot or 2. So yeah, going to be going for that little bit of a greedy Nexus play before getting his gas online.
The body blocking was beautiful. Keeps that SCV out of his base for a little while longer, puts some damage on it, makes it a bit simpler to clean up here. He's going to chase it with the probe for now, but eventually we will see a Dragoon coming out here. It's going to be able to sneak along the left-hand side. Are you kidding me?
No SCV to block.
Yeah, no SCV to block, and that bunker being a little bit out of position there, possibly due to this map being a little bit newer, a little bit experimented on here by Rush. He just has that bunker, not able to hit the Zealot as it walks by on the left-hand side. The Zealot's here in the main, dealing some damage to some of these SCVs. This is going to take a bit of hull damage now, and is pushed around behind the mineral patches. We have that second Zealot on the way now, I think. Going to be heading up here across the map, gonna join its brother if he manages to stay alive that long. Looks like Rush doing a good job microing away from this. Hasn't taken too much damage on these Marines and should be able to finish off the Zealot in short order. Looks like the Zealot gonna run off way back behind this this top area above the main base, so not a bad idea here. Just gonna draw the Marines as far away from the front as possible, so maybe the second Zealot could run by. No, it's gonna head back, maybe on an attack move there. I think he had a good opportunity though to run by that bunker though.
Yeah, he definitely had an opportunity, but Rush had quite a few Marines at that point, and it may have been more of a sacrificial Zealot at that point, so instead just going to retain the Zealot count. Ooh, doesn't get the block on the ramp though, so the SCV scout's going to come into the main and see the timing of everything, also sees that range hasn't started, instead it's going to be a robo, and a very fast robo instead of the early range, so good information there for Rush going forward, and understanding exactly the tech pattern of the Protoss is a big boon. As a Terran player, you can really adjust your build and optimize if you know exactly what the Protoss is up to, so it's going to be all happy days for him going forward.
That's a bit funny. YSC doing the really hard block there on the bridge earlier, and then not able to get the easy block here on that reverse ramp. A bit hilarious, but he will eventually clean that up after Rush scouts out the entirety of the main base. Knows exactly what he's going up against. His follow-up's going to be double factory play. Expect nothing less, just a nice standard opener here from Rush, and a standard follow-up as well. Where this goes is anybody's guess. We haven't seen an armory just yet, and we won't see another command center for quite a long time, but between then and now, there could be things like a starport. We could see drops. We could see double armory. We could see a lot of different things coming out of Rush here. It looks like single armory so far, and no starport just yet. As he's mining that second gas, though, I wouldn't be surprised to see just constant tank production coming out of Rush here.
Well, we may even see more factories being laid down for him. He's getting that early second machine shop as well, getting more production on his tanks and upgrades as well. But I'm curious if he wants to go for some kind of 4 to 6 fact aggression. He hasn't thrown down any additional factories just yet, but yet he also hasn't scouted out the third base timing of YSC. If he does see the third Nexus coming down in a few moments, he might decide to pull the trigger and lay down a few more factories or the command center of his own as a response. He sees no Nexus yet.
He gets in there, though. That's very critical information. Does he have an armory on the, or an academy on the way to get this scanner going? Because he has no detection at all and no mines here, so just kind of gambling that YSC hasn't thrown down some hidden tech somewhere on the map or in the main base after that SCV was picked off, but he's completely right here.
Yeah, he's doing a soft free tank push with just 3 tanks and Marines with vultures being rallied behind it. It's a pretty strong play from Rush, but it's going to come down to whether or not he can remain control over these bridges and exploit these Dragoons with these small numbers of units, because there's only like 6 Dragoons out right now. If he can abuse the terrain a little bit and come in and start laying mines behind these Dragoons like this, it could be a nightmare situation for YSC, and Rush doing a good job of zoning out half of the army while he fights the rest of these Dragoons with these 3 tanks. So much DPS on these siege tanks despite having siege mode, but they're in a little bit of a precarious situation. You have to shuffle up to this high ground to try and exploit that advantage. Vultures are also going to be coming in from behind now that there was a full wall off in the natural, not able to get any probe kills, and getting on top of the tanks as well. As he takes out one of those tanks, 4 Dragoons were left to start doing a lot more DPS to remaining tanks, so he will take out all of these tanks, losing just a few Dragoons. So really good trade for YC so far.
And more Vultures being rallied forward, but the pylon block was really nicely done there by YSC, making sure that he doesn't lose out to that run by afterwards. Oh, he actually gets the mine. Hops over. Very nicely done. He'll get a couple of probes here for his efforts, but not much more than that here as the drone or the Dragoon finishes that off. Mines here in the third base. I think they might have connected on some of those Dragoons as well. So YSC is he's hurting right now. He doesn't have that third base mining just yet. He can't really transfer the probes because there's so many Vultures out here. And yeah, these damaged Dragoons are going to be easy pickings here for these Vultures. Slaying those very, very nice and quickly. And I think there's a follow-up command center in the main base for Rush right now.
Yeah, there is, and he's so far ahead. He's denied mining at this third base for so long. Even though he hasn't killed the Nexus, it doesn't matter. He's killed so many Dragoons. He's delayed any probes from coming over here and mining for quite some time, while he's also getting up his own command center in the main base. So he's going to be getting his third base online round about the time that YSC can even start mining from this base. So it's going to go well for him. Another Vulture run by, going to be trying to poke into the natural, but there is a Reaver blocking that and warding off the Vultures. But now the probes are exposed, and the Vultures come in yet again, taking out 1 or 2 of them. Pretty good play from Rush thus far, really crippling the early economy of YSC. But looks like we're gonna have
here in the third. Look at that. Gonna get a few more kills here.
Good drill from YSC, but does snag a few probe kills. 2 probe kills do go down to that Vulture. We just have going to be carriers as the follow-up from YSC, which, I mean, that can work. I mean, Rush did go for this slightly early command center, and he didn't do anything like 5 or 6 factories, so this carrier can work, but he's on a bit of a timer. There's going to be a window of about 3 to 4 minutes where YSC is going to be extremely weak and will need to buy as much time as possible to prevent any pushes from Rush. If Rush can identify this soon and see that this carrier is coming, then he's going to have a nice little timing attack lined up coming up for him. But right now, I'm not sure he's even aware of the carriers.
His scanners are relatively late here, so he will have those scans up in about 30 seconds. Where he throws down those scans is going to be very, very important. I think he's just going to scan the main base here, and you know, general rule is scanning the
he sees it.
Yeah, there it is. He sees it. Scanning that spinning building, what is that called? Cybernetics core is just a general rule for Terran, a really good move. If you see that spinning, you know that there's probably going to be carriers, even if they're hidden, even if the actual Stargates themselves are hidden. You can't really hide that spinning cybernetics core. So Rush goes ahead and scouts that. He sees all the information he needs. He's going to be starting his +2 and getting ready here for a big push before the carriers hit their critical mass.
Yeah, and he's getting up to 7 factories as well, so he's going to have more than enough production he needs to get this timing attack going, and then also having enough factories to churn out the Goliaths if he's not able to do the killing blow onto YSC in the coming moments. He knows he's on a little bit of a clock though, and he's got a few minutes that he needs to do a really big timing push to maybe punish YSC. The rules kind of change a little bit when you're up against carriers. You don't really have the luxury of just sitting back and macroing quite the same way as you do against something like Arbiters and setting up anti-recall play. So maybe wanting to put on a lot of pressure soon is Rush, but he's still looking pretty good in this game thus far. He has his production, he has his third base up, the supplies aren't too bad for him. YSC also losing a couple of these Dragoons out on the map, not a great play for him there, but I think Rush going forward really does want to do some kind of really big timing push in the next minute or so, but he's going to have to pull that trigger soon if he is going for it, starting to scan, starting to sniff out any potential lines of attack. He has got quite a few units churning out of these factories, but there's still a sizable amount of Protoss infantry out on the map that he has to contend with that, and they're sweeping out all the mines right now. Meanwhile, 2 shuttles coming into the natural base of Rush. One of them gets targeted down by and a huge Reaver scab goes off on those SUVs, but the shuttle was taken down really quickly, so only 2 Reavers got out. Really nice shutdown from Rush, but a few SUVs did die.
Oh, I don't like this from YSC. Losing the Reavers before the push even starts. And he really needs to buy time. for these carriers to come out. I gotta question the decision there to fly in and just suicide 2 shuttles worth of Zealots and Reavers just kind of into Rush. They're feeding into Rush, not really dealing much damage. And even if he killed like half the mineral line there, I still feel like Rush would be content with that, because everything is kind of weighed on this push, right? Rush just needs to make this happen, and having those Reavers out on the map makes that a lot harder, but getting rid of them is a boon to Rush here. He's going to come across the map, start to kill these Dragoons, and they're not even retreating properly at the moment, losing a bunch of them. A counterattack is coming here, but I feel like Rush can just lift this off and abandon this position, and he should be fine still.
Yeah, and a Vulture drop in the Protoss Natural going to do some more economic damage to the Protoss player just as he's trying to reach his critical mass. But it looks like actually Rush in a little bit of trouble, going to be turning around and trying to save this third base, completely delaying his push. So that counterattack from YC actually getting a lot done, pressuring this base and also pulling back the push entirely. So that's actually a big win for YC, buying another minute on the clock, I would say, before he's at risk of being pushed again. But I think Rush will still go for it. He's going to realize that like time is against him. He has to make something happen. About 4 carriers have started to leave the field, and they are building up their interceptor count. They're not quite reached their maximum potency. One of those carriers still only on just 1 interceptor, so we'll take some time for those interceptors to build up. But you see a few tanks being sniped at the left-hand side of the map from YSC, doing a good job of trying to stretch the Terran thin and keep him jostling from left and right, to and fro as he builds up these carrier count. Maybe going forward here could get the better of Rush. Also now taking this 4th base at the 3 o'clock position. It's going to be a hard base to hold, but now YSC going in yet again. This base is completely undefended.
Oh no, and Rush is turning around once again. This is doing so much to delay his push. I'm really gotta feel like questionable plays here from Rush, deciding to go back. He loses the command center, and now he doesn't have a push and he doesn't have a command center. So sending all this army back home, really not gonna pay off for him.
Yeah, and these carrier counts are going to get more and more scary. 4 is when they start to become a little bit dangerous, but 6 is when they really start to get mad. Even a DT from YSC going to be disrupting the push of Rush just a little bit, and every second is precious here. More and more DTs forcing scans out of Rush, forcing him to multitask, stretching his mechanics thin as another counterattack comes into this 3rd base location, which hasn't been retaken yet. So if YSC can just hold on just a few more moments, he will have a critical mass of carriers to start fighting this army. Rush has 2-1 upgrades on these Goliaths, so they are still pretty formidable, and he has a lot of them, so he can still make this work. Can Rush, pushing him to his natural third, but YSC's on the full base trade mode, just trying to come into the natural base area of Rush. There is a few siege, there's a few siege tanks set up back there, so it's going to be hard for him coming in their bunker as well, along with some SCVs to body block these as well. So doing a good job of fortifying position. The bunker does fall, but the carriers now starting to engage the Goliaths en masse. There is at least 6 carriers here raining down with those interceptor shots on those Goliaths, trying to target fire. It looks like they're not being microed correctly as well. A lot of those Goliaths were just shooting interceptors instead of trying to get under and target fire down these carriers one at a time. So far this is going a little bit better for YSC. There is some DTs in here as well, trying to like distract Rush and make sure he can't notice that there's a DT in time before it's already killed a few tanks or Goliaths, and then finally noticing and having to scan. Maybe even sometimes flashing his own units can be really frustrating if you're killing your own Goliaths with siege tank shots as well. It's going to be able to take that Nexus out, and now rotating around a few tanks to the 3 o'clock to try and take that out with some siege tanks as well. So what you need to do as Terran, kind of split your army up a little bit and try and play whack-a-mole with these Protoss bases while the carriers are still not able to get fully online.
Yeah, I really feel like YSC bungled this a little bit. He's still okay. He's still alive right now, but going for another counterattack after the command center was dead. You know that Rush is not going to retake that and try to play it out in a long game. Like, there's no way he's going to sit there and wait for that to finish. So, just bringing the army back might have been a much better play. He could have fought with the full army instead of filtering into that natural, and probably just killed that army. Now he's actually going to lose his 4th base here very, very quickly. He's on 1 base now, and there's no mining at the main. So, YSC making a pretty big mistake here. here, and maybe enough to allow Rush to take this game away from him. The delay tactics were fantastic. The counterattacks were fantastic until they weren't anymore, and that's what YSC just went a little bit too far with those. Now he's counterattacking again over here towards the third. That time it denies something, but the base here being killed at the fourth is much bigger. Coming into the natural now, the tanks are out in the front, but we still have quite a lot of rallies coming here from Rush, and his army is now in position to stop this. And now Rush is feeling confident enough to come back with this entire army and actually retake this third base, most likely, and fight this out in a longer game.
Yeah, unfortunately for YSC, he's had to rebuild a Nexus at its natural, which is already almost mined out. He can't even afford to remake interceptors right now, so he can't even really engage with his carriers for the time being until he can squeeze out a few more minerals and make sure he has enough banked up that he can keep remaking interceptors during the fight. He does have these infantry on the high ground, but that's actually good news for Rush, because Rush can actually zone out this army from rejoining with the carriers, and now he can squash this army from both sides maybe if YSC isn't careful. Some of those Dragoons are in retreat. The carriers coming up from the southeast to try and intercept this army and buy a little bit of time for these Dragoons to make it out there. Looks like they are going to be able to make it out there. He does get on top of some of these Goliaths as well. They're a little bit distracted, not actually target firing the carriers right now, so he will be making some good trades, but he has no money, so it actually doesn't matter that the interceptors are the focus of choice here for Rush. Every interceptor he kills is going to be a little bit annoying for YSC because he can't get enough minerals in the bank to start replacing them. So if he does just start whole positioning down these interceptors with these Goliaths, eventually he will whittle down the interceptor count to the point where the carriers can't even fight anymore.
Ooh, yeah, Rush leaving a little force over here to prevent any further counterattacks. And yeah, killing off interceptors is now actually a big deal here. And what, Nexus? What happened? Did he cancel that?
He got killed, I guess.
That's crazy. I feel like he might have canceled the Nexus to build some more interceptors or something.
Possible.
He's going across the map with these carriers. They're way up in the top right-hand corner. He's just going to retreat all the probes back into the main base, hold from there, and try to get it done with the counterattack. But this is so many Goliaths. Look at the supply. 60 supply ahead right now for Rush, and YSC just about to tap out here, I think. As soon as all the interceptors die, he's just not going to have anything left. He's killing off the comsat stations here. Going for comsats is kind of hilarious because maybe DTs can change the game right now. The DT here is not getting targeted. There it goes. It gets targeted down, but maybe if he flew into the main base and killed the other comsat as well, he might have had a chance to possibly win this through DT, but there's just so much here. All the interceptors have died now. YSC just kind of leaving those carriers there for a little bit too long. They're pretty much empty of interceptors now, and yeah, he really can't produce anymore. He's stopped long distance mining here as well, sending out DTs. GG is called. YSC taps out, and Rush takes that game away.
Yeah, Rush did a really good job of taking the fangs away from the carriers there. All their potency disappearing as soon as those interceptors dried up.
Yeah, that was some really good tactics were shown there by YSC. I feel like the first time that Rush turned around was a mistake to stop the counterattack. So the first couple of counterattacks were okay, but the third counterattack after the command center was dead really put YSC in a weird position there where he was either going to throw his ground army into the natural or send it back home and be a little bit late. And yeah, he ended up throwing it into the natural and then being a little bit late as well, sending it back home to try and help. Too much damage comes out of Rush. He's just so efficient at taking out those Nexuses and pushing in against the Protoss, setting up a good position there that YSC couldn't mine, runs out of minerals and has to tap out. So let's go on to our next game here. It's going to be Rush versus Soulkey. That's coming right up. Here we go. Soulkey spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner. Rush in the bottom right. It's going to be a ZVT, the last of the night, potentially, if Soulkey can't turn things around. We've got 2 Terran players left and only 1 Protoss, 1 Zerg here. Gonna have to work hard to bring this one back.
Now, Soki's a very good macro player, though, and I think that this map does kind of favor his playstyle a little bit. He can be a little bit more defensive and set up these early bases and turtle up a little bit against Rush. There is that big open center he's going to have to worry about. He might be caught off guard a little bit by some of the maneuverings of Rush in the mid to late phases of the game. But I still think this is not a bad map for Soki going forward. Does kind of suit his playstyle a little bit.
Protoss in the audience are going to be cheering here for Solki because, or for Rush, excuse me, because if Solki just dies here, Protoss will get themselves on the board. Best carrying them to that result this week. Second place still gets you 1 point, and Protoss has yet to get even a single point up here, so that would be a big win in itself.
They certainly escaped the flatline meme, so that'd be a big win, I would say, just getting that 1 point on the board.
Yeah, I don't want to have to do that to you guys anymore. Last week, the flatline meme was a little bit brutal. Just want to see one little heartbeat here, one little twitch, sign of life that Protoss can play here in the KCM and actually see some success. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, otherwise there's going to be like a Star Trek no sign of life captain kind of meme coming up next, so get it together, Protoss players.
Yeah, absolutely. Rush here, getting that nice little wall in with just the single supply depot and the barracks. That is beautiful. Walling in action going in there makes him so safe and allows him to produce a command center very nice and early here. I love it. If you're a Terran player playing on this map, definitely copy this build down.
That's a very strong way of playing here on this map, and to be able to optimize his build quite sufficiently with this little wall in as well. Really nice play from Rush thus far. SCV trying to do its best to stay alive to confirm whether or not it's going to be a Hydra Den or a Spire coming up after this layer is on the way. If it was going to be a Hydra Den for Lurkers, it would be thrown down around halfway mark, so he hasn't seen that yet, so he's not too suspicious, but it could have been thrown down into the natural expansion. But knowing Solki is going to be that Spire, he has got pretty good mutas control and does like using it to transition into his mid-game phase when he's really at his strongest once he starts to get his macro in full swing.
Rush here, going to be playing to his strength as well, this time going for that 2 racks play. The stim timing here going to be very strong. That academy just about to finish up, and we'll see a couple of medics and a move out here from Rush really soon. Now Solki bringing out quite a few lings here, a wave of lings coming forward, and speed is done. If he gets caught trying to kill this overlord, could be in a ton of hurt here. Rush sending his Marines back through that little gap. He is going to be safe. Just waiting now for those medics to pop.
Yeah, this is the kind of like old way of playing 2-hatch muta, where you also get the ling speed very soon after the lair, and then you also get up to 8 Zerglings, which you can sometimes catch the naked Marines before the medics are out and do a lot of damage to the bio count, softening up the Terran for when those mutas finally do come in. You see this on-base location, third base for Solki as well, being a little bit greedy and getting that on-base third, but it's going to be a really tough for Rush to get out on the map to attack that. It's so far away from him right now, so he's not really at any risk of losing that third base for the time being until Rush can start to get his barracks production in full swing and get a big bio army out on the map.
Solki going to be throwing down creep colonies here in his natural. That does slow him down a little bit, but going for the counterattack. And yeah, you were talking about how this is kind of the old standard way to play. The 8 lings trying to get kills on the naked Marines and then going for the counterattack immediately. But this is one of the reasons why it has been a little bit phased out as of late. The fire bat follow-up here from Rush with the wall makes it impossible to get any counterattack damage done. And now Solki is in a bit of a rough spot. He didn't build those early drones. He had to build a sunken colony, and now he's trying to get his mutas out here with limited production and limited resources.
Yeah, it's really hard to deal with a Terran that knows what they're doing and like builds the fire bats to plug the gaps and block the ramp while you're moving out to prevent any kind of ling dealing stab damage. So Rush really on top of things, not letting anything happen to him. Is starting now to get his turrets up for that 6-minute timing as Sulky's Mute is starting to fly in, seeing if they can find any damage here. Now the hatchery just finishing up at that top left base natural location, going to be starting to drone up there, maybe getting into an early third gas and really starting to ramp up his tech.
Yeah, we'll see what Sulky wants to do from here. I doubt we'll see a Mutalisk all in just because of how little damage he's able to do with this first round of Muta. He's flying around, but Rush is just sewn up so tight here, so quick to react as well with his first group of Marines in the main base, not letting Sulky really get anything done at this point, and it's going to be hard for him if he actually wants to take fights with the Mutas and try to put Rush in a bad position. He's going to have a very, very hard time taking the advantage here over Rush, who's now just getting into his factory play. He's going to have that tech out very quickly, and this Marine Medic Force is starting to put that pressure out on the map as well.
Yeah, one of the things that Sulky does best is these sort of like mid-game Muta-Ling fights. He's really good at utilizing Zerglings with his Mutas, so he's going to be baiting Rush out onto the map first, and then he's going to set up for a nice little pincer maneuver where all the Zerglings are going to get on top of the bio as the Mutas start to engage them. It's really cost efficient how he does it, and it just seems to be one style that has always worked for him. He likes to get these like little lings out on the map so they can fight the Marines as cost efficiently as possible. Going to be swinging down into the natural expansion, putting a little pressure there, taking out one of the turrets, pulling back the bio to where he wants it. But he has still got these lings out on the map waiting for any opportunity that Rush gives him to go for a little bit of a stab play and try and get on this top of this bio and reduce it before it can even get to a significant size.
Yeah, it's not working though. Rush is not taking the bait. He saw the turrets going down in the natural and he just backs away immediately. More and more Mutas are coming out here for Sulky. I don't see that tech transition, so he's just continuously building Muta-Ling here and looking for that opportunity you were talking about earlier, where he's going to be able to surround and kill this Marine Medic Force, but Rush is just not giving it to him, and he's slowly taking up here. Very soon he's going to have some vessels out. There's the tech transition. Okay, we missed it. It's over there in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, it's really tough for him to scan that location, but there's a firebat that's going to be coming up here, killing a couple of drones and also confirming the tech. Nice little pickup from Rush there, not only getting some drone kills, denying some mining time, but also confirming the exact tech timing of this transition. Seeing the Hydra Den and Queen's Nest around 8 minutes is a pretty typical transition from this early Muta play, so it's going to be going up into that hive with Defilers, with Lurkers to try and fortify these two expansions, get a Nidus Canal to link up, and because he's taken this natural as his third base, it means he has a fourth gas for free, so Sulky's in a really good position as long as he can just not die in these coming minutes.
Yeah, he's been playing a very tight game though here with 3 or just 2 hatches in his main and natural. That third hatch now coming up, pumping out those drones, but everything coming from his main and natural has been fighting units here. Just tons and tons of Mutas and Lings. He's actually banked up about 1,000 gas, so I'm concerned here. I'm wondering if it's going to be Guardian. Yeah, possible Guardian transition here.
He could be faking the transition with the Lurkers and such, but actually does want to make some Guardians. It's unlikely that he will do that, but it's maybe he was keeping his options open for a time there where he was considering maybe making some Guardians. He did overmake Mutas. He had way more than 11 Mutas and had a lot of them just chilling out over the water, which is a little bit indicative of either really heavy Muta-Ling play or Guardians. We didn't see that many Lings actually, so it did seem like maybe for a second that he was considering a Guardian transition, but maybe he hasn't decided to pull the trigger on that and is instead just gonna stick to his guns with the original plan of transitioning into Lurker and Defiler.
Yeah, as we pass the 10-minute mark here, Guardians are becoming less and less likely. Rush is going to have out his air units pretty soon here and should be able to bully away those Mutas. Here comes Rush. He's looking to take this on, but no, decides against it. That's a little bit too many Lurkers, plus the Mutas here over the high ground. A bit too scary to try and contest that position. Lurkers out on the map. They were sent up there to reinforce, but now they're going to set up a hold position Lurker play here. This could be huge. He's going to bait with the Mutas, and this army's going to come right into this. This is huge.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely massive for Sulky. Oh my god.
He's waiting for the perfect moment. It could be now. Could be now. There it is. Huge splash. Oh my god. Rush doesn't react to it either.
Rush not reacting for so long. He loses his entire medic marine force. That's crazy.
That was a beautiful whole position lurker play from Sulky. That he even repositioned the lurkers down further to the south and like really set up for it and really like was really patient and composed about how he went about that and really didn't pull the trigger too early as well. Waited for the Marines to turn around to make sure they would maximize their surface contact area with those subterranean spines. Also now a lurker going to be trying to get behind the mineral line. I think it will be taken out before it does any damage to those SCVs though. But really nice whole position lurker play from Sulky. Really stellar stuff.
Yeah, he's put himself into a much better position now here, and yeah, I'm really liking his spot against Rush at this point. A lot of lurkers over here at the top left. Quite a few lurkers here at the natural as well, and that fourth base is on the way. That's the advantage here of taking your third base at that natural location. It allows you to easily go ahead and grab that fourth, and he's going to power up into Ultra very quickly here.
Yeah, having that fourth gas online for free like this is really going to hurt Rush in the long run. And now that he lost a lot of that bioforce, he hasn't got the kind of potency that he needs to split his army in half and pressure two locations at once. So instead, he's going to keep everything down here in the natural and see if he can break through. He has a few irradiates at his disposal. Sulky's just dancing with Scourge. Just, actually being a little bit too brazen with those Scourge. Going to be taken out by the Gauss rifles of those Marines as he lurches forward with them to try and catch those vessels. A little bit of a premature detonation on those Scourge. As those they were jostling for position against those science vessels. He needs to be a little more careful with his Scourge because otherwise the vessels can just come in here and start irradiating all these lurkers and defilers for free.
Yeah, he was doing a good job of diving behind or back into the Nidus network every time the science vessels came out, but this time the science vessels do get their connections on those defilers, killing off quite a few of them quickly there, getting rid of that potential for Dark Swarm. There is, of course, going to be more on the way, but that's some good value here for Rush's first few science vessels. He's popping out 2 dropships as well. Will the defense position here, the drop defense, be good enough for Rush, or for Sulky, excuse me? It looks like Sulky is ready in the main base, but that top left is looking sparse. Not much over there.
Yeah, there's nothing really in the way of a drop defense in the top side of the map, but I'm not sure if Rush will decide to go there. He may be very committed to the left-hand side, bottom left quadrant of the map. And Sulky still has all these Mutalisks still alive, so those are really good for anti-drop play. But he can use those to defend the top left, but right now they're very committed to sniping some of these vessels. Sulky doing a really good job of producing a huge plague on those Bioball and vessels. Absolutely stellar stuff from Sulky, but there's a big doom drop of 4 dropships loading up in the natural right now, so...
Oh, it's going for the top left as well. He's going to take the long way around here to make sure that he's not spotted by any overlords and make his way over here to this less defended location where the Mutalisks are not available. I feel like Sulky, he should know this is coming. Keeping the Mutalisks at home at the bottom left is a little bit crazy because he's got so much vision down here in the bottom left. He should see the dropships coming far ahead of any of them landing, but he is going to come flying in here now. 4 dropships, 2 Dark Swarms immediately, and Ultralisks are already out. This should be a hold here for Sulky, but actually the Dark Swarms were placed in kind of a weird position outside of the range of these drones, outside of the range of where the dropships were actually going to be landing, and he's doing a really good job of cleaning everything up. This is so many Marines, man. He's actually going to kill this base, I think. Focusing it down now, the hatchery falls. And Sulky, he's going to be able to clean up this eventually, it looks like, but that was a big loss for him.
Oh, a big loss indeed. That's absolutely stellar stuff from Rush. He had such a critical mass of bioforce from those 4 dropships that it just wasn't enough to defend, so he could still get that base. Mutalisks trying to intercept these dropships, though. Would be nice if he can snag at least a couple of those. Does get 1 for his efforts. Needs to be careful not to get irradiated by the vessels that are nearby. Ultralisk doing his best to finish up the Marines in the main base so he can start to retake that as well. We see Rush even starting to take the top right quadrant of the map, making a command center up there too. He has enough money where he can start expanding rapidly and putting a lot of of pressure on the Zerg. He has limited the gas potential of the Zerg, but he is also still losing vessels left, right, and center. So it's a very hard game to call right now. But because there's no fourth gas online for Sulky, it's still very much Rush's game to play for, and maybe sees away from the Zerg player here, because he has done a good job of limiting the production capability of him getting enough Ultralisks out to keep fighting. And another Doom drop going to be going in the main base. There is some Scourge here, defenders off the. Can they get the dropship before it unloads? Does seem to be able to do so, but there's still two dropships going to be unloading, and I think Sulky's going to handle this one just fine. So not really finding anything there, but so far good play from Rush to keep the pressure on. Is another force at the top left natural as well, ready to maybe come in there if there's not enough defilers to defend. Dropship's now taken out, and Marine's going to be cleaned up by the Zerglings, so not really finding much damage in the bottom left, but Rush doing all that he can to keep the Zerg on his side of the map for the time being, contain the threat, contain the virus before it starts to spread, while also fortifying yourself and building up his own immune system so that he can fend off the threat once it does finally become unleashed.
Yeah, and it will be unleashed here soon. The fourth gas is coming online once again. Gonna lose another one of these science vessels as well. Sulky's been doing a good job of picking those off with the Mutas, with the Scourge, getting those plagues on them as well. And Rush, his vessel count really hasn't hit that critical mass where he can just start to radiate everything. But with the extra gases coming online, he could afford up to 4 starports here worth of production of those science vessels. So his just watch for his science vessel count to really start to balloon here shortly.
Yeah, I wouldn't also be surprised if he dedicates 1 or 2 additional starports. So he might even start producing BCs shortly. So he might have like 1 or 2 starports still producing vessels, while a 3rd one or a 4th one also starts to produce BCs in this game, or at least more dropships. Huge bust coming in the top left natural. The beautiful plague from Sulky in response, though, catching pretty much all those vessels. Now Mutalist's going to come in as well and snipe some of those that were already low HP. There is one on low HP to the left as well. That's going to be sniped off too in short order. So beautiful play from Sulky, really getting full effectiveness out of these vessels. Mutalists killing these vessels, still sniping vessels with these Mutalist play. Really stellar stuff from Sulky.
Yeah, beautiful pickoffs there with that Mutalist clump. He's been getting so much value out of those units throughout this game and continuing to keep active with them. I mean, it cannot be underestimated. That is so hard to do, just keeping these Mutalists moving and active, even with all the vessels out that have been out here. Usually we'll see at this point like 1 Mutalist be made in order to start picking off some of these plague vessels, but he's still got like 6. He's still picking them off. He's been picking them off the whole game, and he's keeping them alive, running them around, doing more damage. He didn't manage to get up to the top right, which I thought he would do, and stop that base from coming down, but he's done a great job regardless. And he's going to continue to utilize those, continue to pick off some of these plagued vessels. There we go, another 2 go down. That's crazy.
Beautiful stuff. And Sulky's sitting on 4-1 upgrades on these Ultralisks as well, so they're pretty beefy. I believe Rush will have his +3 weapons right now, so he is ahead. Yeah, he's +3 weapons and +2 armor. As just confirmed by the observer. But one thing to note is that Sulky has such a strong production behind him right now that it's only a matter of time before he catches up in upgrades, and then Rush won't have nearly as much map control as he does currently. So if Sulky can keep plaguing the army of Rush and then start to move out once his upgrades come online, he will start to turn the tide of this game going forward. But Rush has done a really good job of securing these extra bases. Hasn't yet got his 4th gas online. Maybe needs to. Oh, he's floating his science facility back. I wonder if he just realized he might need that. He wants to make battle cruisers eventually, so maybe he's floating that back to land to make a physics lab. Oh, beautiful bust though, coming in the 9 o'clock position, going to be taking out that hatchery as well, stopping the Zerg from securing additional gases as he starts to become depleted at his other guys. As Sulky streamlining in a few Ultras and Lings, but he isn't able to clean that up, and also taking a little bit of damage in the top right as he tried to come in to do a counter-attack. But the one thing that is working for him is this a big counter-attack at the 3 o'clock, which he's managed to successfully set up some Dark Swarms with Ultralisks, so he will be killing these bunkers and open up this position a little bit for more and more harass coming up. So could maybe get some damage done here by forcing the liftoff off the command center, denying mining for the time being, and trying to camp a little bit under these Dark Swarms.
Yeah, Dark Swarms there on that high ground, making it short work of that. Whoa, that plague! Holy crap. That whole Marine medic force that just took out the base in the center left gets wiped up easily by the Red Zerg here. Blood splattered everywhere on the ground. The ketchup intermingling with the blood there. and making a little soup of Terran remains in that center left quadrant of the map. Now, the next base is going to come up here while Rush takes his own base here in the top right-hand corner. Going to keep ramping up that production. One thing I feel is unfortunate for Rush this game, he hasn't secured that gas in the top right, and he hasn't started battle cruiser production yet. Just fighting with Marine Medic here against this amount of Plague. Ultralisk is very, very tough, and he's going to keep taking huge damage from this. Whoa, the right click on that Ultralisk running through those Plague Marines, just crushing them so quickly. Another big Plague here. The control, the Defiler control from Sulky, second to none.
Wow, this is what Sulky does best. He's really showcasing his skill set here. Beautiful play using that Radiate Ultralisk to just splash down all those Marines that are on 1 HP from the Plagues that have been so beautifully executed thus far in this game. It's really stellar stuff from Sulky, showing us really textbook CVT and showing that you can play on a map like this just fine. If you can just turtle up, get this 4th base or free online early, it's going to be more than enough to give you that production that you need. Fighting this huge Terran SK style. There's another dropship out for Rush. Going to be trying to put on a little bit more pressure of these expansions of his own. But Sulky's ready to launch some assaults. Yeah, right here, right now, as the Defilers making their way into the natural expansion in the top right quadrant of the map. There's still enough here that Sulky can get a lot done. And he also sent back a few units to try and defending this drop in the top left. One thing that's annoying though, it's a little bit tricky for Ultras to get back here to defend in some of these positions. So it's a little bit annoying for Sulky to have to keep coming back and dealing with this. And now another follow-up attack coming in here with from the south ramp and trying to get the pick on the hatchery here. You might be able to get quite a few drones and the hatchery. Could be a good trade for Rush.
Yeah, if he focuses down the hatchery here, that would be probably the best case scenario, although there are more hatches in the center left, and the Dark Swarm is about to come down. He finishes that off, kills that hatchery, and denies the 5th gas here for Sulky. Critical damage there for him. He definitely needs to prevent further gases from going down. As these gases in the main and natural dry up, that'll allow him to kind of spark ahead here. Science Vessel 2 throwing down some irradiates on drones. You rarely see that. Much more likely to see the eraser trick. Where are all the mutas when you need them? Okay, there's one muta out on the map. He needs to kill these science vessels. There's like 8 science vessels with no HP. Now 6 right there, 5 right there, excuse me, and another one over by his natural. Hopefully he can get over here and finish this off before he gets more value out of this. There we go, gonna pick off this science vessel here that's kind of sharking around the outside. More Ultras gonna come up here, and Sulky gets his 5th gas online in the center left. Defiler gonna come up and do another big Plague here. No, does not have the energy. Never mind. Dark Swarm gets thrown down, and Sulky pushes Rush off the map once again.
So Sulky's doing a great job of maintaining map control, and Rush, to his credit, has also done a fair job of kind of playing whack-a-mole with these expansions that Sulky's setting up, but it hasn't been enough. He is still going to come in with this Mutalist now. Oh, gets shut down. Good target firing from Rush, denying all those vessels from going down. There is 5 science vessels, all with just 1 hit point, 3 hit points of health, so they would fall very quickly to those Mutalist glaives. So unfortunately for Sulky, not able to get those easy pickups, which would have been huge, reducing the potency of that vessel fleet. Going forward, he has got a lot of gases at his disposal. He is becoming a little bit mined out and hasn't yet able to disrupt the top right quadrant of the map from Rush and prevent him from setting up there. But we see a dropship coming into the main base of Sulky. It's easily going to be taken down by Sulky. He's on top of everything right now. Got this anti-drop defense pretty much all game long, but another counterattack to the 12 o'clock coming in to try and snipe this base. Well, meanwhile, some vessels going down to Scourge, but it doesn't matter. He's going to lose this hatchery yet again, getting his gas count reduced more and more. Rush really doing a really good stellar job of preventing too much production available to the Zerg.
Yeah, he is holding him back right now, just barely though. Sulky is getting set up here to do another major counter-offensive up towards the top right-hand corner. Maybe looking to surround and finish off this Marine Medic force here up here as well. Main problem though is picking off all of these science vessels. He really needs to go after them. There's 3. Muta's gonna be slaying a ton of these science vessels, shoving them back. Ultra and Ling gonna come up here and finish off these trap Marines, while another counterattack going over here to the top right. This may be the killing blow, as Rush has sent his next reinforcement wave over towards the Zerg Natural. He's going to end up losing this base here and potentially the entire upper right quadrant of the map.
Yeah, it's looking worse and worse for Rush every second that passes. I thought there was some small chance he could maybe stabilize in this game from killing these bases, but it's looking too bleak for him now. All of his vessels have gone down. He's lost the only tool in his arsenal that he had to use against the Zerg with that fleet of vessels just casting irradiates all over the place. But now that's been cracked open, and these bases are now ravaged. The bunkers have gone down in the top right. There's more and more Darkstorm available for Soki to keep reinforcing these positions, keep launching it. GG is called from Rush. Wow.
A collective sigh rings out in the Protoss community here as Solki manages to take down Rush in that last game. Not gonna get the win here. Not going to get an instant second place. It's gonna have to be one more game here. Can Snow put Protoss on the map? He has to go through Solki to get that second place spot here, and then Light will be in the background to prevent him from taking the first place. That would be crazy if Protoss, after all these weeks, managed to grab first place here.
I would love to see it, and Snow versus Light would be a pretty epic game, right? I mean, Snow is in his element when he's playing PvT, and Light himself just in his element, generally speaking, so that would definitely be a stellar game between those two players. Would love to see it. As much as I would love to see Zerg win this game, I'm kind of like a little bit, part of me is wanting Snow to win here just so we can see that Snow versus Light showdown.
Yeah, I'm definitely no fan of Protoss in general, but I have to cheer for the underdog here. Snow, your team has been failing every week this season. You have to pull out a win here, buddy. Let's see what he's got for us on cross map here. Polypoid. What's going to be the strategy from Snow that can actually take down Solki?
It's going to be forward gate, Zealot, Nexus, I believe.
And a 3 base from Solki before gas, looks like. Gonna go ahead and snag that third hatchery in just a moment. Then go ahead and grab that gas as well. I doubt that we'll be able to see Snow take down Solki with just a Zealot timing attack here. These positions are pretty easily defendable, and the distance here across the map, it's gonna be hard to put that pressure on. But anything can happen. Let's see if Snow's got a sneaky timing here.
Snow's being really serious about not letting the Lings in the main base here. He knows that Solki might be a little bit cheeky and try and sneak in 2 Zerglings into his main base to cause a little bit of disruption. So gonna be blocking the ramp with a Zealot and Probe, making sure it doesn't get in. Gonna be running around the gateway, doing a little bit of chip damage with his own Zerglings while making more back at home. We haven't seen the Forge go up yet, unless he's making the Forge in his main base currently. Because we're gonna be seeing that gateway coming online soon for this gateway expand. So if he doesn't make the Forge soon enough, then maybe Solki can find some damage here at the front.
I think we are going to see the Forge in the main, and it might already be on the way here, because it's a bit of an adaptation that's come along recently, because Zerg players are so apt to go for the Hydra bust these days. Even fake Hydra busting and just killing the wall is very strong. So yeah, he has that Forge in the main base. Cybernetic core as well in the main, and he's just gonna build a pylon out here in the front in order to block up and get ready for those cannons to come down here.
Yeah, I kind of like this because some Protoss players also make the mistake of instead putting the Cybernetics core in the wall instead of the Forge as a follow-up to protect the Forge, but that also puts your Cybernetics core exposed, which means you then have a phase of the game where maybe you're not able to make Dragoons to bust out of a contain or something. So it actually is really good of him to make the adjustments here to instead use only Pylons and Zealots with this gateway so that he can get anything of critical of importance out of this natural expansion. But it looks like Solki going to be wanting to do a big Zergling flood to punish this. There's a big hole in this wall, two holes and one big hole. So he's going to be coming in here to try and put some pressure on this gateway, force the Zealots to come out from their little hidey spots, see if he can slip in with the rest of the Lings. And he's kind of hiding the rest of the Zerglings right now. There is the cannon now morphing in. Going to be sending 2 of these speedlings into the main bases. Sulky causing a little bit of harassment. Sees the timing of that Stargate warping in now as well. Going to be putting a little bit of damage and pressure onto these probes. One probe able to get the particle beam connection to kill that Zergling. So right now, Sulky not really able to come in here and find the damage that he was looking for. That cannon was just barely in the nick of time, but it looks like Sulky maybe going to try and come in anyway. The gateway's already low. There's a hole in the wall, so he gets on top of the cannon while focusing down the gateway. It's going to prevent any more Zealots coming out in production. So there's just now 3 Zealots with this one cannon, another one warping in right now. So limited production for Snow, losing that gateway, but wasn't going to be taking any critical damage there.
All right, and Sulky is going to be defending his overlords with just a single spore in the natural. There are ways to punish this. We'll see if Snow goes for something like a DT drop. Can be very, very strong with just a bunch of Corsairs roaming around the map. Forces you to bring all your overlords to this one location, and then a DT drop in the main can deal massive, massive damage. But for now, Sulky going to be able to really power up on drones here, adding on a bunch of hatcheries because he knows that Snow can't do any sort of aggressive attacks with Zealots at this moment. He's forced to rebuild that gateway. He's forced to restart that production of Zealots, and he won't be able to push out here for a little bit. Looks like he is going to come forward, but this is a few too many Lings, I feel, and no +1 here. He should be able to surround and just kill this if you so chose.
He just wants to track the Zealots with the Lings. He'd wait for additional Lings to kill the Zealots because he can control when he engages them as they're so slow. So he'll just keep track of the Zealots with those Zerglings until he needs to make a few additional ones, and then we'll finally maybe clean them up. But they will be getting +1. Yeah, +1 just finished up for them right now, so definitely doesn't want to engage them at this present time. We'll instead just be using these Zerglings to buy a little bit of time, getting the exact amount of the units he needs in production to be able to defend this efficiently. So trying to engage at the last possible second, but he is going to give enough time for these Zealots to come into the back of this mineral line here. So a little bit of a precarious situation. Does try and get the drone drill on 2 of those Zealots. Does trap 1 and gets on some surface area on the rest of them. Starting to focus down these Zealots one at a time is Sulky. One of the Zerglings managing to get on top of the other Zealots. Had good surface area. Now catching the reinforcing Zealot on the right-hand side. So it's going to be cleaning up this attack fairly efficiently. Pretty good play from Sulky, delaying that till the last possible second, but did lose 1 drone there and an Overlord.
Yeah, he lost, I think, 2 drones actually and an Overlord there in the natural.
2 Overlords, yeah.
We're supply blocked at this moment, but the number of hatches is exploding. Production is really starting to ramp up here for Sulky. Holding on with just pure Ling alone has allowed him to send a lot of resources into that drone production overall. Skipping out on Spire here as well, you know, getting that later gas. It just gives you so much more flexibility here in how much units you can produce and how many drones you can produce. So his drone saturation is looking very, very nice here. His overall supply is looking good as well. He's still in danger of losing some of these overlords. He sees the Dark Archon or Dark Templar there, and he knows that he has to protect these overlords now. Has to keep this alive. I'd love to see him throw down a spore colony at the 3rd base as well, just to prevent the possibility here of a couple of Corsairs coming in, killing those overlords, and then allowing the DT to roam free.
Yeah, just knowing there's a DT out on the map kind of keeps these Hydras pinned down, defending these locations. It's going to be coming into natural location and getting on top of a high tempo that's exposed with these Zerglings, and the Zealots almost body block it enough to not allow it to be saved, but Sulky just barely not committing to it enough. Maybe could have left 1 or 2 Lings clicked onto it to finish it off as it got body blocked by those Zealots, but unfortunately not going to be getting the kill on that. It is now going to be very easy to snipe later on, but did not crucially get the kill on that. Would have been a really nice pickup, denying that early storm.
Yeah, he loses out on that kill, but I think Snow's going to be pretty cautious with the move out, not wanting to send that Templar on the map. He's just going to leave it at home. Zealots are out here moving around, but they don't have anywhere to go at this moment. All of the locations here from Sulky are well defended. Plenty of Hydras here. Going to be stuck between these hatcheries as well. The angling is pretty good right now for Snow, but drones are being brought out here to the front line to body block, and actually this is going pretty well for Snow overall. He's going to surround and kill a lot of these Hydras, and he's probably going to kill quite a few drones as well. 2 Zealots going to work on the drones. The rest going to run out here. Another round of Zealots coming up into the third base. Can he surround and kill these Hydras, or will he be driven back here?
Yeah, he's kind of outmaneuvering Sulky just a little bit by using this other auxiliary force of Zealots coming in from the south, but Sulky doing a good job of multitasking as well, doing his best to not let too much of his units get caught out, but a few more Hydras do get caught by those Zealots, so really well played from Snow, really stretching Sulky to his limits, and has been reduced now down to 70 supply to Snow's 110, so looking pretty good. Observatory also on the way for Snow, so he's kind of on curve with his tech as well. 2 forges in the main base getting those upgrades. We'll have his 2-1 timing soon, hopefully. Oh, the other forge isn't yet spinning currently. Oh, okay, there it is. There's the 2-1 because the other one just finished. Okay, there's the 2-1 timing I was looking for, and only +1 for Sulky for just the time being, with +2 probably on the way. So Snow's upgrades looking a little bit healthier in this, with taking this mineral only as well. I would slightly favor Snow in this game, though it's still Sulky's game going forward if he can start to expand and get his explosive account of hatcheries going into the hive tech with 10 hatchery production with plagues and swarms. I think he can still take Snow here, but it's going to be a little bit of an uphill climb for him. I don't think he's going to have the production that he needs to kill Snow anytime soon.
I don't know if we're going to see a hive this game. I feel like the way that Sulky is playing, especially with these mutas popping out, I feel that he's gonna go for just a layer tech bust here, try to shut down Snow before he gets that massive army. He's gonna come in here, fly in with a ton of muta scourge, try to just snipe these Templar, and then go forward with a whole bunch of Hydra. I don't even see a single lurker in this army yet, so the transition point is very far off for Sulky at this moment. Now, Sharky around the outside here, he hasn't caught on to where the Templar are at this moment. He sees it with the Zergling now, so he's gonna come back here and try to jump upon this, but this is a lot of army for Snow. Here we go. Here comes the mutas going for the Templar. Oh, dodges that storm perfectly. He kills the Templar that didn't cast the storm as well, so both of those disappear immediately, and now Sulky can have a massive counterattack here, potentially take out this third base. Actually, he's hanging back, surprisingly.
Yeah, after seeing the Mutalisk, you're right, he is going to be doing a more Battle Zerg style. He is definitely going to be delaying his hive tech no matter what happens by committing to these Mutalisks to go for high Templar snipes. So I still think he will transition into hive. It's just he's delaying it by making these mutas to try and use the muta transition to punish the fact that there wasn't a lot of Corsairs out on the map, and maybe we can kill a few of these high Templars, slow down the push of the Protoss player while taking our own 4th base and kind of still going into hive. Reasonable timing, so it's still pretty potent for him, and he still has these mutas sharking around the map with some Scourge support, so we can still put a lot of pressure onto Snow, maybe still snag a few of these high Templars.
Yeah, I'm surprised here to see that Queen's Nest going down. The hive is going to come shortly after. Lurkers are coming out. These pretty late lurkers, and not a lot of defense over here at the third, unfortunately, but the Mutalists find these Zealots before they can get in there and deal any damage. So he will be pushing this back, no problem. Sulky doing really great with his Muta Scourge, just like in that game against Rush, to be able to keep tabs on this army and continually get value out of those units. Definitely, I like his play here, going for the mutas. When you're this strong with mutas, when you're this competent with keeping them and getting value out of them, definitely going for them every game is not a big problem.
Yeah, and he's even on supply with Snow, so this is indicative that Sulky's in a great position right now, and it's going to be really hard for Snow to attack into this fortification here. Beautiful, like, mine network setup of these lurkers every time he comes in. Oh, beautiful Storm, though, softening up those mutas to quite a critical low HP amount, so with those Corsairs, could be able to finish off that muta stack soon, but it's not really that important for Sulky in this position. He has so many lurkers, so many Hydras, so many links at his disposal while taking into Hive and getting his grades online. 2-1 upgrades for these lurkers and Hydras right now. So very potent damage coming out from these units, from these subterranean spies and acid spines. So really tough really tough for Snow to attack into this position. He's going to be really careful in how he chooses to attack into Sulky. He's going to be rotating around to the right side of the mineral only in the bottom side of the map now. See if he can hit up there, but there is already... Ooh, beautiful Storm, though, taking those Mutas down to critical. Only 3 of them are remaining in low HP. There is 3 Lurkers on this high ground position at this mineral only to defend, but Snow has quite a few Dragoons here, so he can start to lay siege his position. I think there's too much Zerg waiting in the wings that he can break this position, but right now he's just skirmishing with the Zerg, bleeding off as many units as he can before Hive Tech kicks in.
Yeah, Hive Tech is coming here very soon. He's on 4 bases, so he's got the production necessary to fight against Snow, but a 4th base for Snow is already up, and we've seen what Protoss can do with 4 bases, and Snow getting up to 4 this quickly. He's going to have a massive army to continue rotating back and forth, pushing Sulky to the edge here, getting on top of his rallies a little bit now, and the lurker number just isn't quite here. However, not too many zealots in this army either. Sulky gonna start to really push this back now.
Yeah, he has just barely enough units to start to overwhelm this Protoss force. A good micro from Snow, slightly maneuvering back and storming and blanketing the Zerg forces as it comes in to reinforce, but he's starting to dry up on his Psionic Storm. There is still a slight critical mass of Dragoons to overpower these Hydras for the time being. Snow's doing a great job of stretching out the Zerg right now and punishing him by taking out small pockets of units before they can merge into one big army. So right now, Snow has a small window of opportunity to do some critical damage to Sulky, coming into the left-hand side of the base right now while locking out the rest of the Zerg forces from coming up here to defend at this 9 o'clock position. So right now, Snow is in a commanding position, currently 147 supply to 70 of Sulky. Going to be able to do critical mass of damage to this production of the Zerg, get on top of the drone line, start taking out these macro hatcheries. It's going to really take the wind out of Sulky's sails here. So
Snow, an absolute god-like Protoss player. How did he do it? With Sulky being so defensive, sitting here with Lurker, Hydra, Ling, and a few Mutas, still able to push through here with just a pure rally. His 5th base is online. GG is called. Snow takes the win here and puts Protoss on the board. Zerg has been eliminated. One more game here. Light versus Snow. That's coming up soon.
it's about time.
All right, I'm sad to say this is our final game of the night, but I am very excited to see this battle between Light and Snow. Couldn't have asked for a better final, to be honest, as we load in here with Light spawning at the top center, Snow down here in the bottom left on Neo Sylphid. Should be an absolute banger of a match.
It is a flat map as well, so there's so many build option choices for Light in this matchup as well. Could be seeing a Vulture drop build, could be seeing a 2-fact build. Anything is kind of in his wheelhouse on a flat map like this, but so is the case for Snow. Can be putting on a lot of pressure with some early gateway or proxy robo. Many options available to both players on a map like this. So far, not going to be getting into the base early enough for a gas steal, at least. So Snow not going to be getting that advantage over Light for the time being.
And Snow, he's going to be loving his position here in this game. The fact that his opponent's main base is facing his natural means that Reaver play is going to be that much stronger. And that, of course, as we all know, the very special unit for Snow. It's his specialty, 100%. So we'll definitely see Reavers here, and he'll be getting into that main base very, very quick.
Yeah, this is actually a really rough positional spawns for Light here because of the way that Snow has direct line of access into the main base of the Terran, as Sane was just saying a moment there. That's a tongue twister. Yeah, we'll be able to get into that base really easily with any kind of tech. So shuttles, Reavers, Arbiters, very strong when you've got this kind of positional advantage over the Terran player, with the fact that Light will be expanding away from the Protoss, and we will have this direct line of access into the main base. So one happy camper is Snow going forward in this game, even though he didn't scout him first.
Happily grabbing his Dragoon range, not gonna skip that upgrade here to get the earlier robo, and that has been spotted by Light, so he knows exactly what's coming here, the timing that robo can come and the timing that Reaver can arrive, all knowledge here gained by that scouting SCV. And it looks like Snow actually skipping his first Zealot, right? Did he actually pop out a Zealot? Is that a Zealot coming over towards the natural? Am I going to be proven wrong here in just a second? Let's see. Dragoon.
Oh, Dragoon. Oh. It's going to be a Dragoon, but that's okay. Going to be putting on a little bit of pressure on the front, but not only in the way of diving in, shaving off a few shield hit points, just to confirm that there is in fact a command center there. Just wanting to poke in a little bit, seeing if there is that command center, making sure that there's no two factory play coming out from light here. If it was going to be a two factory play, I would imagine the bunker would be a little bit further forward as well to deny that goon from coming in there, or at least having to risk losing a lot of its hit points to do so. Who's going to be denying this scout from getting in with this Dragoon popping out as well? So Snow going to be really happy about that.
The timing on that Dragoon popping out, absolutely perfect. But he still has to keep one back at home. Make sure that that SCV doesn't turn around and come on back in and scout out once again. Looks like he's hiding it down in the bottom left, so maybe gonna wait for a better timing here to send that SCV in and get more scouting information here without the Dragoon sitting in the wall-in. It's like the Dragoons haven't pushed back for now, but as the range finishes up, they're going to be able to come forward and deal some damage. Ooh, just in range of this bunker here, and the tank is out already, so not going to be able to force much of a repair. And this is kind of the reason why a lot of Protosses have been skipping that early range and going into a faster Reaver. It does make you a bit weaker against a push out like this FD push that's coming, but it allows you to get that Reaver out faster, and you're not going to be getting that much damage onto the bunker anyway.
Yeah, and with these two siege tanks, he does have a lot of DPS in his army. Only a few Marines to soak up base disruptor shots, but it doesn't really matter. These two tanks can deal a lot of damage, and Snow's going to come in and get a good volley off on those tanks already to soften them up. Takes out a Marine as well. Now only just a few Marines to tank these phase disruptor shots, so looks like Light's going to be a little bit more cautious and lay down some more defensive mines and kind of skirmish around the side here, not put on too much pressure. So really good control from Snow, shutting down any space for Light to come in and seize from him, while also keeping control of this area in front of his natural, preventing Light from getting any kind of positional advantage over him.
Expertly done there by Snow, jumping forward and just getting those 3 disruptor shots on that first tank, putting the fear of God in Light, making him second guess his push there towards the natural. He falls back after getting mines all over, spread all over the map here, making sure he has vision of everything. But he's going to have to hold this Reaver coming into the main now, and it could deal a lot of damage with no turrets finished and just a few scattered mines around. Oh, actually, is this shuttle empty?
It might be empty, yeah. It might just be like a scout shuttle, basically just checking all the tech and seeing what's what, and kind of like keeping the army of the Terran back. It's very likely to be empty, yeah.
Wow, so he's just gonna send that in, take a look around, and then come back for the Reaver. Very interesting stuff here from Snow as he clears out his third base location. He'll probably be taking one very, very soon, and a starport out on the map from Light. What's this for?
I imagine going to be a vulture drop, and we'll also be maybe making a wraith out of that. So I imagine a bit of both. He might be double dipping. He might be getting it for the drop initially, but also then wanting to make a wraith as well. Yeah, it's going to be the vulture drop, but I think he also might want to make a wraith going up against someone of Snow's caliber, knowing that he does like to use those shuttles a lot. So we'll also be wanting to make some wraiths maybe in this game.
This could really mind game Snow here, because he did wander through with his shuttle. He saw all the buildings, or at least he thinks he saw all the buildings in the main base. I'm gonna be surprised to see a Wraith pop out here and start to hit that shuttle. Here comes that first shuttle heading into the main base. There are turrets in a ring plus a bunch of mines, so it'll be hard to find that damage right now. Flying straight on in, he does find one tiny hole in the defense and manages to land it. This is the specialty here of Snow, finding that hole, that one location where there's not enough defense.
Yeah, he's so good with this shuttle Reaver micro. Look at him go, already picking off a siege tank. He's the best in the game at this kind of micro, I would say. So we might be seeing a lot of this stuff from Snow, just shutting down these tanks with these Reavers, slowing down the push timing of the Terran play as well. We do have that dropship now popping out of that starport, going to be making its way downtown to the 6 o'clock position, picking up those vultures. But meanwhile, Snow in the main base still raining down with these scarabs, picking up yet another tank for his efforts. Great job reducing that tank count further and further, being such a nuisance. May even take out the supply depot as well, which would be really annoying for Light having to deal with this. Might even get supply blocked temporarily. Has an observer here to take out some of these mines as well, so we can find new pockets to probe. But here comes the vulture drop in the main base, and there's currently nothing to defend this, so we could get quite a few probe kills with this attack. The Reaver also pops out, but will be a little bit of time before it can build a Scarab to defend against this. So a lot of probes being ravaged right now by Light, completely decimating the economy of Snow, which is a really good timing, getting so many probe kills for his efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. Gets a ton of kills. Nice job juggling that Reaver, making sure that it stays alive here, but he can't drop it again. Not enough zealots here to actually continue to drop at that position. He will rotate over here towards the top left, but great defense from Light, combined with that drop, is putting him in a really, really good position here.
Yeah, he's looking pretty good, and I would say the supply is actually kind of favoring Light a little bit, even though Snow's been doing such a good job with this drop play with the Reavers and shutting down some of the tanks of Light. Light's done a pretty good job of turtling up despite that, and has got quite a few of those probe kills with these vultures, and they're still being active on the map. Going to be sliding on in to that dropship once again, coming back into the main base. Maybe he can snag even more probe kills. Let's see if Snow's going to be better prepared for it this time around.
Looks like at least 2 Dragoons here in the main. He's going to kill this first vulture very, very quickly. Kills the second one as well. The mine being focused down here, and now he's going to clean up that last vulture with the Reaver. Shuttle has that speed now. 1 Wraith is out. He's going for Cloak.
Yeah, I was wondering if he would do that. I knew he would probably be making the Wraiths, but I wasn't sure if he'd commit to a full-on Cloak Wraith as well. But this is something he has done, and something that a lot of Terran players have started to do recently, getting a few Cloaked Wraiths and really shutting down the ability of the Protoss player by not only killing the observers and shuttles, but also putting on a lot more pressure by dominating the air and preventing them. But here comes the vultures coming into their natural expansion, taking out more and more probes of Snow as well, just limiting a little bit of that economy further, and not really at risk of taking any damage. Usually it'd be a little bit of a dicey decision to come in here and trade some vultures for probes, but if you're not worried about being attacked anytime soon, then it's more than tenable to just trade those units out and keep limiting the economy of the Protoss player if you're not scared about any kind of counterattack.
Snow is coming across the map here. He may end up finding this starport here. If he finds the starport and finds out that it is in fact Cloak Wraith here, he'll just continuously produce some observers and make sure that those are with the army and in a safe position, and he should be able to hang on against them. But if he doesn't find out about it, he may lose these he may lose the shuttle really, really quick here, and he lost the observer. Here we go. Cloak comes down, he scans, he sees that there's no observer. Oh, there is one. Okay, one observer from the main base does manage to come forward and keeps him alive. That was a critical move there from Snow to make sure he had an observer with that army.
Yeah, if he didn't have that second observer, it'd be a really bad spot, because the Wraiths would just come in, kill the shuttle, and then the Reavers would just be dead in the water, taking pot shots from those Wraiths until another observer could make its way over there to defend it. There's like another shuttle drop going to be just unloading 1 single Zealot on top of that siege tank that's kind of cheekily hiding underneath that CC, trying to get into a good position to shoot those goons over into the 3rd base location, but not quite in a position to reach. So nice little play from Snow there, picking up 1 tank as he can. Moving forward, he's going to lose one of his Dragoons, and now I think a few of those observers have gone down. Oh, there's another observer coming in, so these Cloak Wraiths will not be able to get on top of the shuttle and take it down just for the time being. So right now, Snow being really annoying and delaying this 3rd base from Light from going up.
Yeah, this is the great play. Snow is well known for getting maximum value out of those Reavers, and contrast this, guys, with the earlier play of YSC, who sent his shuttles into the natural and just lost everything very, very early on. I guess that was against Rush. Oh god, shuttle coming in here is going to get picked off very, very quickly though by those wraiths. So not really getting a lot of work done with that Zealot bomb.
Yeah, those Gemini missiles on the race do a lot of damage to these shuttles 20th shot, so they do get taken out so quickly. That's why Wraiths are such a good choice in dealing with this speed shuttle style. Beautiful play from Snow though, just going to be using these Reavers over and over again, taking out tank after tank. Finally, Light at 13 minutes is starting to secure his third base at long last. Meanwhile, Snow now has his fourth base already set up. He has to be a little bit careful though. Now there's a science vessel, it's going to be much easier for him to come in and snipe some of these. Oh, nice mind drag into that siege tank. He's going to be taken up with the Dragoon. I like these little skirmishes that Snow's doing, but he also wants to be careful that he doesn't lose too many of these observers to Light here, because he's going to have to keep these observers alive to prevent all the shuttles from just being absolutely taken out by these cloak wraiths going forward. And now there's this vessel, those observers are going to be sitting ducks if he doesn't keep control of them.
Yeah, and without many observers being produced and constantly being picked off here, he's going to start to lose units to mines around the map. And we just saw a few Dragoons go down there. Now with double Robo, I think that Snow is getting the correct response to deal with this style. Making sure that he has a ton of observers popping out here, and he will find this starport now finally. May be able to deny that, maybe able to pick that off.
Not only being able to deny that, but also denying the mining here at this fourth as well is a little bit annoying for Light, getting that slowed down. He is going to lose this starport, it looks like.
Starport going to fall down here. The Reaver's going to land and get a couple of shots off. Free 2 tanks here to start this fight, and he's gonna go ahead and fall back, drops these Reavers because the observers are gone now, and the Wraiths with the cloak gonna be able to jump on top and kill that army. All of these last few Dragoons are going to end up going down, and now Light can easily take his fourth base without fear. Snow, he needs to get something done here pretty soon. He needs to get another army out on the map and start to slow down Light, because 4-base Light is a very scary monster to take on.
Oh, it's a very, very scary beast to take on, and he actually did save that starport. It's going to be able to land it and repair it up. Has 100 HP. As long as he remembers to send the SCV to repair that, he will be able to continue producing more Wraiths or vessels from that, providing him more utility. We do see a large army of Snow moving in now. Zealots on move command, trying to sweep through the minefields while Zealot bombs are coming unloaded on top of these tanks. There's quite a lot of tanks here for Light though, so as long as he can just siege up these tanks in the back, maybe he'll be able to fight this battle. A lot of tanks have gone down in the front though, so it's still a pretty good trade for Snow, all things considering. As long as he doesn't lose too many of these remaining Dragoons, it's going to be a good trade for him. He might even get one of these other tanks. D-Matrix comes down to prevent that from being a good fight, but he's going to come in there and try and snipe the starport critically.
Yeah, he will get this starport. Finally does finish that off. Some vultures going to come in and surround this Dragoon army, sending out a sacrificial Dragoon just to drag the mines, but it's not going to be enough. Doesn't open up an opportunity here to escape with these Dragoons, and they will all be killed. More and more rallies popping out here for Snow. His Templar are now coming online, so this is where the shuttle style starts to get quite scary, is when you have those Templar mixed in. They're going to start throwing down storms on these big clumps of units and taking good trades, and here we go. Third base under threat right now. Bunch of Templar running forward. Here comes the storm. No storm. There's the storm. Finally throws one down. He is going to pick off these tanks now with the follow-up and back away with the remainder of the Dragoons. Not the best first trade here by Snow, but he managed to get at least one storm out and kill a few tanks.
Yeah, we currently have 2-0 grades for Light right now, with 3-1 on the way. 2-1 just finished up as well, so he has his armor plating now as well. That doesn't matter against the true damage of the storm, so storm is going to be one of the critical things in the arsenal of Snow to keep combating this Terran mech army as it grows in number. Being able to lay down big sonic storm blankets on those vultures and tanks will help soften up the Terran player, using this sort of gateway man style, relying on pure Zealot, Dragoon, Shuttle, Storm and Reaver. Really a potent style, but requires very high level execution. Someone of Snow's caliber can handle the execution that you need to get the maximum value out of a build like this, but so far Light has done an impeccable job of setting himself up nicely in this game. Currently 152 supply, 265 of Snow. There is another shuttle coming into the middle, only on the right hand right-hand side of the map. Could be a big storm drop here, potentially. Is the Reaver there? Okay, there is a Reaver here, but it's not going to be a good connection on these SCVs. Only 2 going down. Could now come into the natural expansion for further damage with this Reaver. There are some units rallied out here that could come into defend, but he's going to rotate into the main base. There's not a lot here, though. A few gas SCVs, so a mine there as well. Does pick it up in time to reduce taking the damage on that. Does get another snipe on the tank as well. Beautiful connections with these Scarabs, but isn't going to be finding a lot of damage with these Reavers, besides just delaying the Terran for as much time as possible while he starts to max out.
More bases coming up around the map here for Snow. Is really starting to expand, but he has not yet secured a main base location where he can start to throw down more gateways, so that could become a problem here going forward. Light is reaching that supply, that critical supply of 160, where he can really start to move across the map and take the fights to the Protoss player. Moving forward here, he's gonna find a few Dragoons out on the map and forces them back. Snow smartly falling away from that army the moment that he gets in range of those tanks, and they manage to siege up, dropping some zealots on this army. And actually, this play from Snow has really, or from Light has really fallen flat here after the early game. His starport getting picked off was critical, because now these shuttles can jump all over top of the tanks here and keep on mine dragging them, keep on bombing them over and over again, and preventing them from fighting efficiently here.
Yeah, what was really interesting about that fight, well, Light's going to get this Nexus up here if he target fires it down. That's actually going to be a really big pick if he kills this. Mine's also detonating on those Dragoons, which is huge. He will be killing this Nexus just barely by the skin of his teeth. That's a great pickup for him. And all the dropship calls in the bottom right as well. Beautiful pickup from Snow there, denying any potential harassment from that vulture drop coming up. And some vultures still raiding out on the map, trying to set up some mines, trying to be a little bit annoying. One thing that I thought was quite interesting is that like Light was unable to siege his tanks during that, because there were so many mines laid out on the middle of the map that if he'd started to siege up his tanks while retreating from the Dragoons, that he would just get mine dragged to hell. So he was kind of forced to retreat all the way back behind the mines before able to siege up. So Snow really exploited that and took a lot of free damage on. But now they're doing a 4-man's recall into the main base with 4 shuttles, dropping lots of Zealots and Reavers into the main base to start opening up this position, killing all the turrets in the main base so that he can do further damage into the main later on by opening up this position to further and further harass as the game progresses.
Nice D-Matrix there, saving that Goliath, and it looks like Light will be able to clean this drop up. He's done a great job of leaving spaces in his main base to allow his units to get through there and actually clean out these type of attacks. But Snow is continuing to expand here. He's continuing to push out on the map. Looks like this base could end up getting shut down here. The tanks are not in range to defend this, and he could run up this ramp with all of his Dragoons and try to kill this base. Light just not quite reacting in time.
Yeah, he's not reacting quick enough. He's slowly sieging his tanks. The SCVs are now starting to be evacuated. If Snow wanted to, maybe there'd be enough time here to kill the CC, but instead he's just going to try and get on top of these CC. Beautiful Sonic Storm on the front line tanks, softening those up and killing a few in the process. Really good job by Snow here, slowing down the Terran from taking this 3 o'clock base. Yet again, really slowing down the expansion part, but the game is still slightly Light favored right now, currently 169 supply for the Terran army. He just needs to be careful not to be outmaneuvered by Snow here. He has everything in his arsenal to take these expansions and to fight this Protoss army head on, but Snow's not going to allow him to do that easily. Just going to be skirmishing over and over again, picking out what tank kills he can, left, right, and center. Going to be denying the mining at this expansion for as long as possible. Has done a great job in slowing down Light, but Light is still a powerhouse of a player right now, macroing like a god. Going to be taking this base at the 3 o'clock now, more or less uncontested once he clears out these Dragoons. And now we have a big force of vultures running down with the +3 weapons grades. They kill these cannons extremely quickly. Usually the concussive damage of those fragmentation grenades do not do a lot of damage to buildings, but with the upgrades they do plenty. And now we have a counterattack from Snow into the natural third of Light, coming in and just crushing this position very quickly in short order. There's a lot of Templars from this left side coming up as well, so there's a lot of storms available to him fighting this base, but he is going to be losing this Nexus in the bottom right critically.
Yeah, this is a good kill for Snow, but not nearly as important as losing the bottom right now. This base is going to mine out very, very soon, and Light can just retreat from that. He's got the base in the center right. He can transfer his workers to that location and be completely fine with the situation. Light is actually going to get down here to the 6 o'clock as well and potentially kill this base and all the probes at this location here shortly. Snow's going to have to react to that. He sends his army down towards the bottom center, and Light backs away. So at least he manages to keep that 6 o'clock base, but Snow has been forced off of that other main critically, not able to build gateways down in that location and start to set up a second place for his army to rally out of. Here we've got plenty of pylons over in that spot, but just no gateways to speak of.
Yeah, Light's going to be taking the space to the natural third in the bottom right quadrant. He looks like he wants to kind of expand vertically and attack it at the same time. We have a shuttle dropping a Reaver at the 3 o'clock. Does manage to get the Reaver down, but beautiful snipe on that shuttle. Going to be denying too much damage done at that base. So weathering the storm right now is Light currently looking okay in supply. 159, 160 to 190 supply. So that's about where Light wants to be in this game anyway. But he did get that base shut down a little bit. So it's going to be some time before he gets his production back online to max out. Again, once he gets these SCVs transferred to these bases in the bottom right, he can start set up to start maxing out. Snow is almost maxed out now, so he's going to be looking for some pressure, going to be cleaning out these mines and getting his units forward as the Protoss infantry starts to close in on these Terran positions. He can try and outmaneuver Light and stretch him thin, open up a beautiful High Templars being dropped behind the third base, going to be storming over the cliff. It's something you see on Polypoid a lot as well, kind of like exploiting the geometry of the map to storm from awkward locations, making it hard for the Terran to deal with. So really good exploitation of the map design there by Snow, getting a few easy economic damage on Light, while he's still trying to take this natural third that's almost mined out anyway, so he's losing a lot of units trying to take that position back from Snow.
Yeah, really well done there, stopping Light from mining here, at least for a moment. He can come back in at any time and throw down those storms. If Light has to transfer a lot of SCVs, and he will have to soon, the main and natural are already mined out. It could be huge damage at that location. Still not taking the bottom right yet, but he is going to try and crack this central area here, try to get in on these bases, but great target firing there, killing off everything that pops out of that shuttle immediately and not taking any splash damage. Diving forward here, Snow is taking a pretty good trade, but as the Zealots thin out and the mines start to connect, the Dragoons really splatter all over this area here, and oh no, that Wraith picks off the 2 Templar shuttle, really shutting down any further harassment here from Snow for the time being.
Yeah, doing a great job there. Is like he's looking better and better on the supply board of things. There is another big counterattack from Snow coming up to this natural third, but there's enough siege tanks and vultures here to weather the storm here. And I don't think he's going to lose too much. There is still some Templar, so with good storms, this could be a problem. One Sonic Storm does land beautifully on those tanks as they unsieged and re-sieged. Like kind of Snow baited him a little bit by making lucky he was going to run out, and then ran back in to siege to throw down the Sonic Storm on those tanks as they were sieging and re-sieging again. So kind of exploiting the animation time of those tanks going in and out of siege mode a little bit, trying to get as much done as he can. He is down in supply now by 30 though, is Snow. So right now Light looking better and better as he maintains this game state. And with this base set up in the bottom right that's currently uncontested, he is looking pretty good in production right now and denied this main base going up for Snow. So looking really strong if he can just hold on. But here comes Snow with a huge concave setup, beautiful surround on these tanks. This is a false high ground, so you have perfect vision and damage up this ramp. There is no mischance, so Snow can attack into these positions as long as he doesn't let the geometry of the map exploit him too much.
Light's doing a fantastic job spreading his tanks, making sure that he can't get hit in big clumps here by the storms. Also, target firing with the tanks onto the Templar. We saw in one of those last fights there that he was just so on top of picking those off before they could get their big storms off on the clumps of units. A really good play here from Light, and Snow is really starting to kind of fizzle out in this game. He's gonna go for more drops. He's gonna try to shut down the mining here for Light as much as possible, but this is not a great drop. Just one Reaver in here is all the splash damage he's got. He's managing to actually kill all the tanks on this high ground and force the SCVs away, but I don't think Light cares too much. He's gonna come up here and clean out this army. All the shuttles have been killed, so it's not like he can pick this up and leave and come back again later. He's gonna have to remake all those units, and meanwhile Light is gonna get back to mining, and he's already picking off a base here in the top left. Snow's army is looking very, very thinner right now. 116 supply. Super, super small army here. He's getting some nice picks. Like, these two tanks are completely free right now, but he needs more than that in order to win this game. He needs a miracle.
Oh, he needs a bit more than a miracle right now. He's looking like he's starting to dry up a bit in this game. Already down 30 odd supply right now. Light's looking stronger and stronger by the minute as Snow is starting to dry up in these expansions. Now currently down to like 2.5 bases of mining, but he's not really mining in the main base with his probes right now. Trying to do these small skirmishes, trying to throw Light off his game by outmaneuvering him, but it's not going to be enough. Light's really been on top of his vessel control this game, always having the vessels at the expansions ready to either dematrix if there's Reavers or EMP if there's Templars, and been on top of his anti-drop play all game long. Really stellar stuff from Light in this game going forward. It looks like he's going to be able to take a very convincing win against Snow. Snow's doing a counterattack into this natural third in the bottom left base, getting on top of these tank positions where there is a lot of army coming down to reinforce this still. So even though we see a lot of tanks dying for Light right now, there's just so much more for Light waiting in the wings to get on top of these Protoss army and keep whittling it down more and more to a nub. Currently at a 50 supply deficit, Light at 150 with his big upgrades against the small army of Snow, only 103 supply. It looks like this is going to be a Light game here, they're saying.
Yeah, Jin, it's really looking that way at this point. Snow is moving around the map with, like, you know, what we got here on the screen. 3 Dragoons and 5 Zealots against a massive, massive army of Vultures and tanks. Like, it's so hard to take a trade here. Even with the storm that's available, you're just never going to be able to break through any of these positions, and Light is going to start to move towards the bottom right. He's not concerned with winning off the bat here. He's not concerned with taking this fight to the Protoss. Instead, just denying more bases, taking more bases. That's all Light's about here, and he's going to continue to do that throughout this game. Now heading down towards that bottom right, he's going to cut off this army, start to pick off the Templar before they even get their storms off. And although he's going to lose a few SCVs here, he's killing a big majority of the army and securing his win here in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valiant effort from Snow trying to come in here with these Reavers to try and find some damage at this bottom right base, but he's just his Light has been snuffed out by Light, the superior flame in this game. So unfortunate for him, not going to be able to take the win here, I don't think. Light has complete positional and game state advantage over him. He doesn't even need to attack the Protoss to win from this position. Just by maintaining the game state, he would have more than enough to win and has more bases at his disposal to take as expansions. But it looks like he will be pushing for a win soon as these tanks move in for a checkmate situation, as they start laying siege to these expansions while zoning out the Protoss army as it comes in desperately to the east to try and to get some economic damage on the 3 o'clock with these Reavers. Does take out a big chunk of these SCVs, 11 kills on that Reaver, 13 now, and a few on the other one as well. So it is getting a lot of SCV kills, but it's going to be tapping out. GG is called from Snow. Not going to be getting too many points on the board this week is Protoss. Wow, Light looking absolutely crazy in this game.
Gets the clapper. I think that clap was for Snow for that valiant performance. Big thumbs up as well for the players. That was a great Reaver drop there at the end, but it came way too late in that game. Light's control and his defense was stellar throughout, and although Snow showed really fantastic Reaver control and shuttle micro throughout that, Light's still able to shut him down and take the win. So with that, Protoss has been eliminated. Terran is the final survivor. They're going to take home that $750 prize, the 2 points, and Protoss finally makes their way onto the board. All right, as we wrap up that final game, we're going to be taking a look at the point rankings. As you can see, signs of life here from the Protoss squad. A small heartbeat as we plow through week number 7 here and move on towards the end of this season of KCM.
Yeah, and Protoss seems to have getting that little bit of defibrillator treatment, you know, kind of shocking them back into life, getting that point on the board, which is nice to see. We see Terran on that big upward ramp curve, pushing through the scoreboard, even showing that there is no true skill ceiling on the Terran race, and it looking more and more that we're going to be having that Zerg versus Protoss showdown going in for that final spot.
You see this light source up here in the top right-hand corner. I think that's the moon, and Terran is headed towards it. To the moon, boys. Tasagi going right up outside the actual settings here for the KCM. You're not even supposed to be able to go that high, all right? But he's breaking through, gonna be covering up the Zerg icon here next week if they manage to get more points on the board.
Yeah, leaving Zerg in their shadow both literally and figuratively in this upward curve.
Absolutely. And we have one more week of regular season KCM play, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Week number 8, that's going to be coming up very, very soon. And then we'll have the semifinals and the finals, likely going to be Protoss versus Zerg. Well, I guess now we can say definitively this will be a Protoss versus Zerg semifinals, but I think we may end up seeing a Zerg versus Terran final. What do you think about that?
I would be very excited and be very happy about that. I would love to see it. I think we might see it too, unless Protoss have been kind of hiding their power level this entire time, and finally we're going to be seeing all kinds of craziness going forward. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. I'm excited though, Sam.
Yeah, these Protoss players have been going broke hiding their strategies so far. They haven't been earning any money up until this week of the KCM, but finally taking home a little bit of that prize pool. We'll see what they bring out in the semifinals. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.